On this episode, we make like a snake and shed some skin. You'll run screaming towards Apple Podcasts to download the only show that promises double happiness. We crunch in on yet another pickle-themed ska band, Slow Gherkin on Checkered Past, the Ska-Cast.
Oh, way, oh, what the fuck you doing with your life these days? Oh, way, oh, what the fuck you doing with yourself? Oh, way, oh, what the fuck you doing with your life these days? Oh, way, oh, what the fuck you doing with yourself?
What up, Checkerheads? Welcome to Checkered Past, the Ska-Cast with Celine and Rob, the show where Scophocles and Rip These Are Not My Pants, a rock opera, explore the history and impact of a different band each episode.
Yeah, no.
Man, that really got Joey. And hope to bring in new fans along the way. I'm Rob, and this is my sister and co-host, Celine.
Hi.
What did you think about that?
I don't like it.
Oh, okay, good. Mission accomplished. Whenever we drop a beat, we have to pick it up where we left off.
Do we?
Pick it up, where we left off. Pick it up, where we left off.
We need new songs.
Wachow.
No.
Why?
No, that's good, but like for
Oh.
other segments.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Celine, what's new with you? You have a story to tell.
I have a few adventures.
Okay, let's hear them.
I'll start with the less painful one. I'm not feeling like a hundo today, but just the old Xmas season service industry burnout and the I don't know. It's a kind of a bummer of a time these days. So I was the closest I've ever been to a hockey game, like a big hockey game,
Like you
not
wa-
like your bullshit.
You walked
kid
outside
hockey
of
game.
Rogers Place. You're just like, hey, that's where
No.
hockey's played.
One of my best friends, Maz, shout out to Maz. She's in these dad rock cover bands. One's Rat Poison, one is Alter Ego. They have a slightly different set list. But yeah, she actually played a special song just for me. Well, they obviously like learned it already, but it was on the set list because she knew it was coming. But yeah, there's a bar inside Rogers Place, which is our big arena, where home of the Oilers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fact. Where you can see such things as Cirque du Soleil.
So Avatar. So the cheapest beer is in this bar. It's like $20 stadium beer otherwise, but this was $6 beer. And there's always something about like arena draft beer. Anyways, she played Interrupter's bad guy, I got to skank.
Okay.
I was the only one up there, but she did so good, and I felt like I was at an Oilers game, and I didn't have to watch any hockey. It was great.
What an adventure.
And then, part 2 of Celine's adventures this week, and another reason I'm not feeling a hundo. So, it's no stranger to anyone who's seen my face that I have probably had some lip filler, and I'm seeing someone new for my filler and Botox. Because I'm a filler queen, and ain't no shame, ladies, do your thing. Just make sure you're ahead of the game. And so the new lady I'm going to is fancy and was like, oh, I need to like dissolve it and redo it. So I did get it dissolved, but I swole up like Big Ange. I would direct you to the Google image search of Big Ange. And it is accurate, like really, really accurate. I will post photos along with the release of this episode of I'm a normal person now. But it was traumatic and wild, and Joey laughed at my face when he saw it.
Joey's still laughing. Like he's just like laughing at the thought of it. I saw the picture.
It looks like if you
it's
poke them
comical.
with a needle, it would go, I don't know, what's the sound of a deflating balloon? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Anyways, Robert, how are you?
I'm just fine. I don't have adventures. So
Your lip filler's been looking kind of whack.
I mean, they're not doing anything. One could almost say that I don't have any. I went to see a movie with my 5-year-old son yesterday called Encanto.
Okay.
Instead of Spider-Man. Even though he loves Spider-Man, he does not like Spider-Man movies. But he definitely loves animated
That's a troll
Disney
after
fare.
my own heart.
So this Encanto movie, this is it's great. I mean, it's a Disney movie. Lin-Manuel Miranda does the music
that's
for
fun.
it. So high quality Moana-esque songs that were fabulous. However, I do have a bone to pick with post Little Mermaid songs on these Disney movies.
Post Little Mermaid songs.
So there's this thing that happens where there's a song that, and like everything, like it's in Frozen, it's in Tangled, it's in everything, where they have to do some kind of breakdown where they're like smugly talking to you in the middle of singing. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Welcome.
Yeah, no, but like,
No.
yeah, but kind of, you get the idea. Like,
Scar was smugly talking to all of us.
but it'd
in
be
The
like
Lion King.
a little bit. Well, that's after Little Mermaid, so post Little Mermaid still. So it's all.
Crab,
guest-
the
our guest
crab.
is,
The
like,
crab was kind of
confused.
smug. The crab. I was gonna say Luigi the crab. Who's the crab in Little Mermaid?
Luigi,
What's-
Sebastian.
Well, that's an Italian name.
He's not. He's,
He's
French. He's French and he sings in a Jamaican accent.
Oh, je suis
it's
Luigi.
very strange.
Baguettes.
Yeah, you know what
I
that
can say
movie
that in
is?
French.
Is a strange. It's a strange movie.
Okay, what's your
My
bullshit
point-
take?
What's my bullshit take? You're not ready for it. They do this like smug talk thing. So it's like, say you had a movie where like the main heroine makes bread, and she'll be just like, "This is the bread I'm making," and it's sourdough. And like
That's fun. Everyone
that
likes it.
sucks
That
so
also
bad.
happens at Little. You're saying like Little Mermaid started that?
Yeah, because she's like, what's that
Word
word?
again? That's fun, and everyone likes it. Oh, I'm gonna
That's
dig deep and
obnoxious.
prove you wrong somehow.
This is super obnoxious part about those. I just
what's that word again?
What's that word? It's
What's that word again? Yeah, it sounds familiar. You don't like it because it's a mirror onto you.
maybe, but the
Projection
the
to the melody. You're welcome.
oh yeah, that was good.
It was subtle.
But yeah, so that's just like my hot take on those kind of songs. But you know, the other thing too is in a post Frozen
I
landscape.
prefer outtakes. That's the place where you get hot food at the cinema. They call it outtakes. That's where they have pretzels and hot dogs.
When you go to like a Cineplex Odeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's garbage. I had to actually know what? I'll take nachos with cheese.
Actually, they
I'll
make
do it.
really good chicken fingers and a good chicken sandwich.
So the rest of my hot take, man, I'm soaking up so much oxygen with this, is in a post Frozen landscape, because like they have to make it palatable to selling like albums to preteens. They have to add like a weird. So if in my scenario, in the bread baking
Oh
heroine,
my god, this is taking so long. What
She
point
would-
are you fucking making?
she'd be like, my bread is going viral. Like they would had some kind of like weird, like tweeny bopper.
My head's on the mic. I don't. You already said what you said. You
No.
already, you already gave examples.
It's-
You already. What are
these
you
are
saying
important.
now? Is this a different thing?
Yeah, it was a different thing.
And what was the point? What was the thing?
It's fucking obnoxious.
Okay.
Like just write a damn
So
song.
you just don't like. So your point is you don't like modern Disney songs.
No,
That was the short answer.
but I do like
saying that.
Lin-Manuel Miranda's songs.
So
I just
you do or don't like the songs in this movie?
I do. I just think
Okay.
they don't have to have weird like.
so did that? Okay.
Let me finish. They don't have to have weird like like urban dictionary slang, and they don't have to stop singing to talk. End of take.
Things can change and evolve over time.
They can. I'm a progressive person. Well, that was a fantastic use of everybody's time. So why don't we bring on our guest? We are absolutely thrilled to introduce our guest. He is the auteur singer-songwriter behind the KMoy project. His debut album, the Precure album, is available right now through Ska Punk International. Kenny Malloy is here. Hi, Kenny.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, Checkered Past. Hi. Or Checkered Past, the Ska'd.
There we
I
go.
keep forgetting which one it is. Hi.
Not to be confused with Checkered Past, the comic book podcast, who I'm expecting legal action from at some point because they've
true.
been around much longer than us.
Well, you know, these things happen.
Yeah. We've been lawyered up for a while.
So, yeah. So I have to start with the most important question of all. You once told me on Twitter that Kendall Jones is one of your favorite songwriters. Elaborate for Celine.
All right. Yeah. So I did a thingy on the Twitter where it was like, hey, say your top 5 songwriters in all of ska. And I just didn't even have a real answer for it. I just wanted to see other people's answers. But one of them was going to be Kendall Jones. And for those of you who don't know, Kendall Jones was the founding guitarist of Fishbone. He was
Okay.
in Fishbone during what I call
Interesting.
their peak years,
Okay,
which is like,
that's
from when they met
interesting.
in like
Okay, welcome.
1979 or whatever, all the way up until 1993 when he left the band. And those were like Fishbone's best years. And if you ever read any of the liner notes on the Fishbone albums, especially the early
Which
ones,
I do every day.
yes, you do. His name is on almost every song. So like he clearly played a very integral part in the development of those songs, and like a lot of the more popular songs just have his name there alone, like Unyielding Conditioning or Sunless Saturday or Servitude. So yeah, he was a really great songwriter, even though not like specifically only in the genre of ska, because Fishbone did like a lot more things than ska. They're just popular in the ska community, but like
Yeah,
ska makes up like
unfortunately,
maybe
they
a
got a lot
quarter of what they do. Okay, yeah, there you go. Oh, and also I'm wearing a Fishbone shirt right now, which is why Celine is so mad at me. I did it for fun as a joke, and it's working. So
He
yeah.
charged me some gold to get across the bridge, and
Yeah,
I said no.
I get it. You made a troll joke. I was there for it.
I understood too.
So you don't like Chim Chim?
No, I do like Chim Chim's
Oh, okay.
Badass Revenge. I feel like that's the last great Fishbone album. Like, to be very frank, on the subject of do I like Fishbone, the answer is yes. I like Fishbone quite a lot.
Since
Fishbone
you asked.
became my favorite band when I was 14 years old. And like I think possibly, this might be wrong, that the influence that Fishbone has had on me and like how inspirational they were to me is second only to people who were actually there watching them live in like the 80s and early 90s. I really think that's true, because like I spent a lot of time on the internet going through like torrents to like find live footage, because like YouTube was only barely existing at that point. So if you wanted to find live footage of Fishbone back in the day, you had to go on the Fishbone forums and like find these secret torrents and stuff. And that's what I did when I was a very young teenager. Like, I love that stuff. I watched the Live on the Warfield thing from 1992 all the time, like with big wide eyes, you know? That was like my favorite, absolute favorite thing. So yeah, I like
So you
Fishbone
hate
quite a lot.
Fishbone. You hate them.
Yeah, I'm very mad
You
at
like
them
nothing about
almost
them.
every day.
I respect you, and I respect your choices, and I respect your commitment.
Yeah,
is what I'll say.
I just want to say to Celine, you're allowed to not like Fishbone.
Thank you.
You're allowed to not like a
doesn't
lot
feel
of
like-
things. I
Thank you
feel
so
like
much.
I think people give people like too much pressure that they have to like everything that's considered essential, but there's just so much stuff in the world to like listen to or watch or like read that you don't have to do all of it, and you don't have to like it even after you have done it. So it doesn't really bother me that you don't like Fishbone. It doesn't.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
We're getting like so many different things because it definitely bothers Sam from Witch Police Radio.
Mike and Tony.
Mike, well, they don't like Fishbone.
I know, I love them.
But Sam, we've talked on Twitter a bunch, but he is like diehard '90s Fishbone. Like Chim Chim is 100% his favorite. Go like
that's
ride
cool.
or die on that. And I'm just like, nah, it kind of ends at reality of my surroundings for me. And he's livid about that. It's like, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, of course he would be. Who wouldn't be living about that?
Yeah, I love Sam.
Everyone knows.
He's got hot
that
takes.
about Fishbone.
So let's get into the actual interview, if you will. But your interview, this is your second interview, which is fantastic. Before this, you were on a 3-hour monster episode
Damn.
of Ska Punk International, which everybody should
Yeah.
listen to. I listened to it. I thought it was fantastic. You and Tape Girl running through your new record. So good. Really also love, the insight to a songwriter. You do talk about gear. You talk about how to do things from home. I think these are all awesome little lessons and tidbits for anybody who's even curious about being a songwriter. But let's not focus on those years, which was 2014 to the present. Let's go before that. So, Kenny, let's hear your ska origin story. Where did you hear it first? How did you get into it? What broke your brain to make you a ska fan?
We must know.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. So, in late 2003, I spent a lot of time on Newgrounds.com.
Oh,
And,
yes.
And I was 13 years old at the time, and so there was a Flash cartoon that came out around the end of 2003 by a creator named Matt Wilson. And if anybody wants to refer to them in third person, they use they, them pronouns. But anyway, so like Matt Wilson made this cartoon called Bonus Stage. And at the end of Bonus Stage, there was this melody playing with like, you know, this was the end credit music. And it had like the loud guitars and the drums. It was basically ska punk. And that song was actually Shed Some Skin by Slow Gherkin, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
Here we go.
I didn't know that at the time. And then I watched other cartoons by Matt Wilson. I watched 2 episodes of their cartoon High Score, and the intro song to High Score was A Little Doubt Goes a Long Way by Real Big Fish. I was like, okay, here's another thing with the horns in it. And then there was like a fight scene where Cannonball by Five Iron Frenzy was playing. I'm like, okay, I have to find out what this shit even is. So I like went onto their forum because, you know, back in the early 2000s, everybody had their own forum. So I went onto their forum to find out, hey, what's this thing? I was lurking there, and people were like, what's the name of that song during the Super Phil fight? Because apparently that was a frequently asked question. It's like, it's Cannonball by Five Iron Frenzy. The music is called Ska. You can go look it up.
It
And
exists.
so I did. I looked it up, and this is going to be surprising to some people. iTunes had a ska like playlist at the time. It was like, you know, 50 or 25 essential ska songs, and this was like freaking 2003 when iTunes had barely anything, and you'd expect them to know jack shit about ska, but they actually had some really good stuff on there. Like they had
That's cool.
They had Desmond Decker, they had the Toasters, they had Fishbone, they had the Scotalites, and it was like, oh, so there's like some real legit ska stuff on there. And that's where I started to get an idea of the diversity and history of the genre. And then I started looking up more stuff through Amazon Listmania lists, which also don't exist anymore. But also, like I said, iTunes at the time didn't have like all the music in the world. So if you wanted
It was
to get
like just
ska
top
music,
40, it seemed like at the time. So I'm surprised to hear that.
yeah, pretty
iTunes
much.
was
So like
popping off for ska. in
it was
2003.
popping off just a little bit, but there was still like stuff where they didn't have all of it. So I had to order a lot of CDs from Amazon, a lot of like, you know, used CDs from like un-ska Records, which had just gone out of business like 3 years before that. So,
what kind of used? Because I did the same thing, getting some used un-ska off of Amazon. 2003 sounds about right. Yeah, that would have been in high school. Yeah, that's exactly right. What were you getting?
Okay, I don't think I got the used Moon records yet, but I'll tell you, I remember one of the first purchases that I made on Amazon because I ordered them all at the same time in like early 2004. I remember I got Fishbone 101, which is like, it's a best of on one disc, and then the second disc is like rarities and the 1984 demo tape, which is great stuff. So you should get that if you're a Fishbone fan. And then I got
the beat on it, right?
Yeah.
And then I got the Toasters, Ska Boom, which came last, and Hard Band for Dead. I got the special self-titled. I got Madness, One Step Beyond. I got the Scotalites, Guns of Navarone, Trojan Records collection. And I was big into Five Iron Frenzy, so I got 3 Five Iron Frenzy records.
Nice.
I got, what was it? Our newest album ever, Quantity is Job 1, and The End is Near / Here.
Gooders. Good taste.
So yeah, those were my first records that I got. Yeah.
Nice.
I fucking love Listmania. Like that was okay. So like for me, those were the two things. Like Listmania on Amazon. I think the list was the worst ska of all time, which was like a tongue-in-cheek thing where it was like a bunch of third wave ska stuff, and that's where I like saw like Real Big Fish, and like I really used that to go beyond just whatever was on Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And then the other thing was using Kazaa to download like anime music videos, and so there would be like a lot of ska ones. Like there was like ones that had let's say Real Big Fish's cover of Hungry Like a Wolf set to Trigun, or Lupin the Third or something.
How would the band Kazaa help you download anime and music? By putting the pedal to the metal?
Yeah. That's got to be a Canadian reference, right? Kazar, I don't think is like. Yeah.
That's a total joke that went over my head.
Yeah, do you know
But,
who
like,
Kazar is? I
so
think it might be CanCon.
Kazar was like a rap rock Canadian band, and they had a song that was like the pedal to the metal on the floor, never
They're
get
big
bored.
here, though.
They're not big here.
They're kind of big.
No, this
People
was like
know.
they were like new metal adjacent, but like for
One
the radio.
thing's for sure, I put my feet on the floor.
Thanks, Celine.
Anyways, for his ska.
Hey, Joey, are you gonna put this
God,
Kazar song
music.
on our Spotify
yeah, you
playlist?
have to.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Stay
hot.
tuned.
That's hot. So then how about in terms of getting out to live music? When did you see your first ska show?
Okay, I saw my first ska show in 2006. This is New York City, so I went over to the Knitting Factory, which
yeah.
still exists, but it's in Brooklyn now. But this is back when it used to be on the Lower East Side, on the Bowery, and this was like, I didn't live in New York City. I was like a suburban kid from the suburbs of New York, so New York was just a mythical place to me. And like the way that the Knitting Factory exists in my mind as a building that's been like, you know, torn down or renovated or whatever, or has like a different thing in there now, is still completely mythic in my mind. And I saw the 3 Floors of Ska show there, which was
I was
something
about to
that
ask.
existed
Yeah.
at the time. And the Toasters were the headliner, and they were the big band that I came to see. And I went there. I went there with my dad and one of my friends from like high school. And I don't really remember any of the other bands that I saw there that specific day, except for the Toasters. And I was just so thrilled to see the Toasters. And I bought myself a blue Toaster shirt, which I still have right now. I've had it since 2006. This Fishbone shirt, I got this thing in 2008, ordered it off of eBay, and it's from 1993.
Nice.
But yeah, so yeah, that was my first show, and I freaking, I just loved it.
It was a
It
good
was
day.
so good. It was
Good day
just
for
so good.
KMoy.
I
Did
saw
you skank?
I did, yes.
There you go.
And it was the first time I got to know how skanking worked.
Yeah.
Because back in those days, we didn't have the videos, you know? So I had to see people do it in front of me. I'm like, that's how that works. Okay.
So many knees.
The
Yeah.
Toasters are that's like a band that you have to dance to. I saw them here in Edmonton in 2008, 2009. A funny story about that show was I had a bunch of friends that were supposed to meet me at the sidetrack to go watch it.
That is a funny story.
And well, the funny story is that they absolutely did not show up.
Oh, I
and
knew
then-
how that was going to end. So
and then
it's not a funny story.
The Toaster. So when I was there, I bought the Hub City Stompers off of Bucket, which was great because that was their first record and was great. But then Bucket is on stage and he's like, I'm not going to do his accent because I can't do it, but he's like, you know what the best part of going out to ska shows is? Being here with all your friends. And I'm just like off to the side and I'm like, I don't know fucking anybody here. This is the saddest moment of my life.
Oh,
But I danced.
you have friends now.
I have friends now that I would murder if they bailed on me going to a Toaster show. Yeah. Like a totally different. I fly by night jerkwads that I went to college with. So
Fly by night jerkwads. I'm going to tell them.
you don't
Every single person you went to college
Brett. Because he was the one that bailed.
with. Every single person.
I have a interesting question, and more about just like because
I'll be the judge of that.
I like to hear advice from people who are like songwriters and do a lot of their stuff DIY. So if you were an aspiring new musician / songwriter and you just didn't know where to start when it comes to like writing your own music and doing it all yourself, what is your advice for those people and how would they get things started? Like where is the best starting place for a new songwriter?
Okay. Well, boy, that's
Yeah, that's a
actually
spicy one.
a difficult thing. I could say that, you know, the mechanical side of it is very easy. All you need to get is like, you need a audio interface for the computer, which is something that you can plug your guitar into it and it records. You can plug your keyboard into it and it records. And also you need, you plug your microphone into there too and it records. So get yourself a microphone. It doesn't really matter which kind, really. Like I have a condenser microphone, but you can also get like one of those, Shure SM57s that everybody uses on the guitar amps, and it can work for your voice too. So get one of those. It doesn't have to be so expensive. Like there are people who put out really great music and don't have expensive gear at all, and don't even have treated rooms either.
my room's not treated. My room has a whole lot of echo, but that's just something that you can take care of once you get into producing, which is also its own whole thing, and it's going to require a lot of attention.
So you could do
to,
that
like,
in post? Is that what they would say? Is that what the
yeah,
Windows.
pretty much.
those fucking musicians would say? Do it in post?
Yeah, take care of it in post, which just means, like, put a noise gate on your voice so, like, you don't hear any of the blank spots in between.
That's what
But
I call
also, like,
later problems. Later
it-
problems.
Like, having reverb in the room isn't such a bad thing. You're going to put delay on your voice anyway so
It's
that the recording
vibes.
doesn't sound dry.
Vibes.
Yeah. So, but anyway, okay, so there's all that, but then, like, songwriting, how the hell do you even do that? That's, like, a difficult thing, to be real
Yeah,
with you.
I guess the reason why I'm asking is because I see people ask you that quite a bit on Twitter, and it's like there's
Like
a lot
how
of
to start
yeah,
writing
like how
a
do
song.
I think somebody asked you like how do I
How do you
write
start
melody?
writing a song?
Yeah.
But everyone's process is so different and personal. Like some people start with lyrics, some people start with like a riff, some people start with a doodly doo doo on a piano
Yeah.
or a doop doop doo on a bass.
That's a good
or-
point. No, it's good that you say that because it's triggering certain things in my mind in a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
hope
actually
not
used
in
to
a bad
start-
way.
No, it's not the bad version. But like, I actually used to do that all the time and record these voice memos of like, oh, this is an interesting chord progression. Oh, this is an interesting riff. And like, I still have all those saved, but most of those things didn't actually help me write a song. I would actually have to be thinking of a chord and a melody at the same time for something to
Okay.
really
Yeah.
build off of.
Because I
but
feel like
yeah,
for
like,
me, if I've ever attempted, I always go lyrics first, but I'm also not a musician. So that makes sense.
Yeah, it's really the opposite for me, but I know people who do work that way too. So I don't know what to say, but like, yeah, Rob, like the thing about somebody transgender Joey Ramone on the Twitter, it's not the real name, but whatever. That's the Twitter handle or the fake Twitter name, but transgender Joey
I
Ramone
love
asked
that.
me, "Hey, how do you write any music folks know how to write melody?" And then Beth tagged me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing this for the next 15 minutes. And so I just taught her a big whole freaking lesson on how melody works and how to be a melody writer. That's like a very specific thing. Like the whole aspect of songwriting feels so general, it's hard to answer.
Right.
Yeah, that's very fair. So maybe we'll pivot off of that a little bit, and I kind of want to go back to talking about like the ska scene in New York. That's obviously one of the big ones, I would argue. And you came up kind of similar to us, where we started getting into ska like literally 5 years after it passed away. And
Aw.
New York especially got hit hard with moon ska folding and all that. But like, how do you characterize the sound or the scene in New York, even versus now when you first started? Like, where is it at nowadays, and what is the definition of New York ska, do you think?
What is the definition of New York ska?
Yeah, because, the OC has its style. New York kind of has a style.
Nowadays,
Yeah.
present time,
Yeah.
present day New York,
Or just in general. Yeah.
in general.
So to answer this question, oh, what happened? There's a noise.
Yeah, that was a noise. That was a hard noise. It went. "Diddle-oo."
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
that's fine.
We seem fine. Are you okay?
Okay, good.
No.
I'm fine. Anyway, all right. I'll
Okay.
continue answering.
New York ska.
Yeah, New York ska. So I have to confess that I moved to New York City in late 2015, and well, shit. What else was I gonna say? All right, yeah. From like I'd say probably 2013 to 2019, I didn't have like an active interest in ska anymore. It was just music that I listened to that I already liked, albums I already liked. I wasn't like looking into like new ska music, and I wasn't like even going to shows and stuff, even though I did get into a very ska adjacent artist in 2016, Jeff Rosenstock, or maybe that was 2017. But like, point is, I was listening to like a whole lot of hip hop and like maybe some like, I don't know, alternative rock,
Yeah,
whatever
that's
the
very
fuck you would
relatable.
call.
I feel like it was very quiet during specifically those years.
Yeah.
Like things were really quiet during those years, to be fair.
They kind of might have been.
But yeah, like
Or at least they were in my life as well.
Mm-hmm.
and then in 2019, like this is how my brain works. A switch flipped in my brain where I was like, I don't think I'm obsessed with listening to hip hop all the time anymore. Now I want to listen to punk rock and ska again. It just happens.
I feel like I did that too. I feel like I got
My
into
brain's
engineer. Joey is nodding. I went into like a hard hip hop, like almost exclusively phase. Yeah, relatable. And yeah, it seemed to happen overnight as well, where I was just like, oh, I need to like, you know what I feel like? It was like, sometimes you're like, oh, like this is what my younger self liked, and then new me likes hip hop, and then I got to a certain age where I'm like, oh, I am all of these things. Like I like hip hop, I like pop, I like punk, I like ska, and it's like, and I'm also allowed to be all of those things. I don't have to just be one thing. I can be a mosaic of weirdness. I don't know if you can relate to that at all.
Oh yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Like all the, especially as a musician, all the music that you listen to and all the musical obsessive phases that you go through inform who you're going to be as a musician. And I think that's very important for any genre, and even ska. It's important for ska that you don't like, that you don't just sound like a band that's like, oh, we're just trying to be Streetlight Manifesto, or we're just trying to be Real Big Fish, or whatever that is, But anyway, sorry, I want to answer this New York question. So I had to do all this preamble.
It's perfect.
Because like I got back into ska in like mid 2019. It was just like in the back of my brain because like I was listening to old punk records that I loved as a teenager, and Operation Ivy was one of them. I was like, yeah, I really like ska though. I really like ska. And I was like listening to, the Toasters again, and like Ska-Tune Network. I knew of them because I'd seen one of their videos on YouTube where they did a Joe Hisaishi cover from Spirited Away. So I was like watching Ska-Tune Network videos again. I'm like, yeah. Except I was also like feeling like this was back when I was like a drug using, a very sad person. So I was just watching their videos and also being envious and being like, damn, if I put my head to where this kid is putting their head, I could have done all this stuff. When I was that age.
They were very inspiring to a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
I know, for real. It's completely true, and we always need to acknowledge that because it's very true.
Yeah, because even when I first, I was maybe just starting to listen to ska again when I first got back together with Joey, and Joey actually showed me Ska-Tune like way back in the day, and I was like, oh, this is so fun. They're doing like sweet, like I was just like, oh, ska. Look, they're doing it, and they're doing it well. Look at them go.
Yeah.
Like this is sweet and well done.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways.
I found that very inspiring.
So they inspired you as well?
Yeah, to just like sort of be back into ska. And then at the beginning of 2020, I was like briefly on the Facebook trying to find out, hey, what's going on with ska in New York? And I saw one ska show in New York. Saw one show at a very small venue called like Otto Shrunken Head on like East 14th Street.
Sounds
and
fun.
It was fun. I remember like two of the bands that were there. There was Barbicide, which is made up of like, two former members of Mephistopheles from the...
Oh, really?
yeah.
That's also a
from the
sweet
God
name
Bless
because that is what, as hairstylists, we use to disinfect our tools.
It's not
Barbicide.
It's not killing a barber.
No,
no,
it can be.
Or maybe it is.
It is a disinfectant solution.
But yeah, that was a fun show, and I really liked it. There was it was a 4-person band, and the woman who was playing the organ like inspired me to be like, yeah, I should play organ live. That should be something that I do.
Yeah,
and so
that's
I watched that, and then there was the Ladrones who came on last, and they were like, they were like one of these ska core sorts of bands, and like it was just a great show to be at, and like anytime that I'm a white person and I'm a minority in the crowd, it's exciting for me, which is something that is awkward to say out loud, but it's true.
For sure.
Because it was like, oh yeah, it's really cool. Like you always hear about, oh, ska is so big with the Hispanic community. That would be like something that I read about and like hear about in like the Pick It Up Ska documentary. And like, oh, I'm actually experiencing this in real life. It's very true, isn't it?
That's cool.
Like there was a girl there from LA who was talking to me, and this is very relevant to ska in New York. She said, I didn't even know that you had ska in New York.
Oh, wow.
She said that. She said that to my face. And I'm like, you know what? Ska used to be a very big thing here. It was a long time ago.
Believe it or not.
And
Ripley,
yeah, so
believe
to
it
your
or not, there's a pork pie there.
to your
in New
to your
York.
question, Rob, when I was getting into ska when I was a teenager, I really, really did favor all the East Coast New York bands. I was very, big into New York ska jazz. I was big into the Skatalites. I loved the Mephistopheles and the Slackers. And so, I was in, there was even some other stuff that I got into, Scofflaws and Stubborn All Stars and Skinnerbox and stuff like that. So
Django.
my mind was very East Coast driven, and maybe that was some sort of an East Coast pride sort of thing. But it was also I had this conception that a lot of people had of the West Coast ska music, that it's sunny and goofy, and this is where all the pop acts live. This is where the people like Save Ferris live.
Mhm.
And I just didn't. I was that kind of teenage jerk who didn't want to listen to anything that was popular. I didn't listen to the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones until 2010
Whoa.
because I didn't want to listen to what was popular because I was that kind of teenage jerk.
I was that
So-
teenage jerk.
And yeah, so but now that I hear that difference, it's there is a bit of a difference there. And I think it has to do with what it means to be a musician in New York and what it means to be a horn player in New York. You're probably very skilled at jazz. You're probably very skilled at your instrument because you're making a living as a musician, as a New Yorker. And there's a very competitive, thing for New York musicians.
You have to be at a certain skill level to even
break
be
out.
able to do that.
Because there's probably
50
50 million trumpet players
who are
and so
all amazing
you have
from all
they're-
over the world.
Exactly. And so you have to be the best of those best trumpet players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I really love the Toasters too. So I kind of like to obsess over different eras, and 1993 I think was when they put out New York Fever, which is my favorite Toasters album, and they have they have the best bassist they ever had. Their rhythm section is so tight. I was listening to, you listen to that album, it's so tight, it's so locked in. And then to compare, because I guess I'm being a hater, but I'm just being frank. You listen to the 2002 album,
Enemy of the State.
Enemy of the System. The
yeah.
first song on there, it's a different bassist, it's a different drummer. It doesn't sound nearly as tight. They kind of speed up during the song. These are the little things that I pay attention to. And they had Sledge, the trumpet player, during the 1993 lineup, and he could play all these high notes with ease, which is so hard as a trumpet player. And they just sounded so tight, and they sounded so New York.
Yeah.
And Rocksteady Freddy, he had that SNL sax growl thing going on. And Rocksteady Freddy, he also was a founding member of New York Ska Jazz. And I knew somebody from New York Ska Jazz. He taught piano at my school, Kerry Brown. So that was, I had that sort of connection with stardom in my eyes. I was oh my God, this is the guy who wrote Blue Lunar Ska, and he's teaching piano at my school. This is so cool.
Damn,
So
that's
yeah.
cool.
I completely echo my favorite era Toasters is for sure New York Fever through to some degree Don't Let the Bastards. I mean, I think that one isn't as big on mine, but Dub 56 I can listen to ad infinitum.
I can echo that. Dub 56, Dub 56, Dub 56.
That was nice.
Toasters. Echo.
And now we're back to
echo.
being Checkered Past.
You guys were having a real conversation for far too long.
But that was exactly what we needed, because I'm looking at the old time, and it's about time for us to take a
That's all
break.
we needed.
Yeah, that's the hard stop. So we're gonna take a quick break.
You're welcome.
Celine's-
Because
Oh,
I'm
I was-
Maui.
I was
I'm
about-
Maui from Moana.
I had a moment where I was was that even
I
on
don't
pod?
remember the rest of the song. All I remember is "You're welcome."
Yeah.
I'm the Rock,
There was a-
Dwayne Johnson.
There was a whole hour and 45
You're
minutes of movie
welcome.
outside of that part.
There's a pig on and a chicken. You're welcome.
So we're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, it's time to enter the time ska sheen.
Oh, way, oh, what the fuck you doing with your life these days? Oh, way, oh, what the fuck you doing with yourself?
Welcome back to Checkered Past, the Ska-cast with Celine and Rob. We are here with Kenny Malloy, KMoy, and we're going to get into Slow Gherkin on the Time Ska Sheen today. So, Kenny, tell me why you chose Slow Gherkin for a band to discuss.
Because you offered it to me. But
Fantastic.
you also offered me one other band. I forget what was the one before. Do you remember?
No.
Are you allowed to say?
I've been trying to tell people for an episode, I'm just going to tease that we're trying to get some people who want to talk madness. And I'm striking out hard.
Right. Yeah.
Striking out hard
Yeah,
to get
you-
people to
You're
talk
just
madness.
desperate to talk madness.
That's because we're...
You said madness, and I was like, okay. And then later you said, wait, what about Slow Gherkin? I'm like, that's way better. Okay, let's do that.
Why did I pick Slow Gherkin? I feel like you talked about it. Oh, it's because I did the heat map thing for Asian Man releases, and I had wild differences in the Slow Gherkin things, and I remember you coming on, you're like, yes, I agree. And we talked about Slow Gherkin for a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, Kenny has some thoughts about
He had
Slow
a slow
Gherkin.
Gherky bond.
So,
Sure.
but it was
That sounds weird.
but it was one of the first bands you ever listened to, is what you had told me in terms of ska, which is, I guess that has some things, but
Hashtag bonded by Gherkin.
For sure. Yeah. I have a weird history with the album Shed Some Skin, but we'll get into that when we get
Ooh.
into that album.
oh, that's a tease
I like
if there
weird
ever was.
histories.
So, well, we're going to get into some history, but before we do that, it's time for everyone's favorite Trivia Ska game show.
Third wave, two-tone, just give me that sweet trombone, trumpet or saxophone. It's now time to play Get That Horn.
Guess that horn. Cool. You know what? It's not easy. Well, let's go with the Shed
There's
Some
a
Skin.
keyboard.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard the keyboard. I like the keyboard.
We're going to get into
heard
it,
the
but
keyboard.
I would
I
argue
like
one
the
of
keyboard.
the
One of
stars.
the horns is a keyboard.
Okay, so we got-
arguably. Let's say that.
Okay, so one of the horns is a keyboard. You heard it here first. Another horn is a guitar.
But when you say the keyboard line mimics is horn like, is horny.
It is a thing they do.
And they like kind of horn up the keyboard, and sometimes they use horn sounds on keyboards.
I don't know if they
I
did
actually know what you mean.
I do know what you mean too. I wouldn't say it's like ska
Thank you so
P,
much.
where like they actually like have the like fake horn thingy, but I get what you're
Okay.
feeling. Yeah.
So is there a consistent horn player in this band?
No, we're gonna do the
Okay.
well. Yeah, there's horn players, but they changed them a little bit. Let's
Like
do the
lineup.
yeah. We'll do the Shed Some Skin. So their quote classic album. Let's go with the horns on there.
Two. 1,
Kenny is cutting.
4, 0. There's none. There's 0. There's no horns.
How many horns, Kenny?
6.
Want to know something? I don't know the real answer. I think it's 4. I think it's 2
Whoa, that's
saxophones, a trombone, and a
wild.
trumpet.
Sorry, I interrupted you by screaming.
Correct.
What was the list of them again?
He nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's alto, tenor. That's 2 saxophones, then a trombone and a trumpet.
Yeah, and the trumpet player also will sometimes play the valve trombone. I was doing the thingy with the fingers. The
Okay, let me see if I can remember it after you literally just said it. 2 saxophones, an alto and a tenor.
an
And
alter and a tenor. Yep.
What did I say? I said
meet
alto?
me at the alto sax.
Did I say alto?
Did you hear me say that? Meet me at the alto sax. Who got that one?
Like meet me at the altar?
Yeah,
They're
famous.
And then there's a trombone and a trumpet.
Yeah,
There's
there you
4
go.
of them.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, and a keyboard. The 5th ghost
The 5th horn.
The
horn.
fifth horn.
Boo.
Just like how New York is frequently the fifth character.
It's
keyboard.
like the Sex
In
and
every
the
TV
City.
show.
Yeah. Keyboard is the fifth
I always
horn.
said the keyboard's a real Miranda. KY took a sip of water. And just like that, that's the name of the reboot of the Sex and the City show. Nobody's going to get that.
No, I
here.
saw that. Who's not? Okay, so who's not in the Sex in this? There's somebody who decided. Kim Cattrall decided she's
Yeah,
not in it. Okay.
but she's in London, so they're leaving it open. She's in London, everyone. She didn't come to Big's funeral. We have to use a spoiler at the beginning. Spoiler alert! If
No,
you
isn't
haven't
that
seen-
famous? Like in the first episode, he dies on a
Yeah.
Peloton or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Why do
Okay,
I
that's
know
not-
that? I haven't watched it. But I know that Big dies on a Peloton.
Anyways, I'm so happy we got to talk about that.
He had a really stressful day at the office in Law and Order.
What were we talking about before then? Oh, the horns. Okay, moving on.
So now let's get into it. We're talking Slow Gherkin. My sources were Wikipedia All Music. But I also went to Slow
Did you
Gherkin's
donate?
1990. Yes, I do actually donate to
I try to
Wikipedia.
donate too. I think we all should.
Slow Gherkin's website from 1998 is still online.
Whoa.
So I went on there. That's my favorite. I love, like, going to Mike Park's old GeoCities website is a delight. But I also, there's a bit about Slow Gherkin in Defense of Ska, the book that everybody should read. You know, it was actually on sale.
Could, and would read.
That's right. It was on sale. It was super cheap. It was like 15% of price or something on the ebook. But one of the members also did an interview with the podcast This Was the Scene. And I listened to that guy too, because it had some very interesting insights because it was done like 3 years ago. And so kind of retrospecting on their career and hearing his take now was fascinating. And I'll try to pull up some clips, or not clips, but some quotes that he had that I thought was fascinating. So here we go. The year is 1993.
Did we go to Ska Sheen?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. We got into the time Ska Sheen.
I have it.
Oh, God.
Man. I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to go cultural appropriation on this, so I'm trying to just kind of use mumble.
So you're culturally appropriating
I'm trying not to use an
Elton
accent.
John's cultural appropriation.
I know, but like I'm trying not to use like an African or like I'm trying to.
Wait, why are we doing Lion King in the first place, though?
Because
Why
it
is
was
that
the only
happening?
sound that came to me in that.
Also,
moment.
didn't we also talked about Lion King earlier, which
You've got to kiss the time. Na 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 na. Time's Ska-Sheen. You got to go back in time. You got to time Ska-Sheen. Whoa whoa. My name is Luigi. I'm a French Italian little crab. Oh, whoa whoa.
perfect. So now we've taken that amazing. You know what? The timing works out good because we're going to 1993. We're going to the Disney Renaissance. That's about when the Disney Renaissance happened. But we're going to Santa Cruz, California, where several high school students are just getting their minds blown by Skank and Pickle. Skank and Pickle, obviously, all over the place in, the West Coast, Central North California situation, going up and down, playing high schools, being wild.
High schools, not
Well,
colleges.
Well, everything, basically wherever they'd be welcome, and they would do
High
things
school
like
sounds creepier.
jump around on pogo sticks and juggle. Apparently, that's what Jim Rickman, who did the interview, said.
No stilts.
So, James Rickman, if you will, is one of the founding members. He plays the drums, along with Phil on the alto sax, Zach on the bass, and AJ Marquez on the guitar. AJ and Jim are sort of the key players that we'll be talking about for the most part. They come up a lot in the songwriting process. So they decided that this time was, and some were in high school and some were in junior high, that they wanted to play a band, and they called it Slow Gherkin. The name is from nothing. Literally nothing. Just AJ, I guess, was just sitting, or somebody.
Because it seems like slow jerkin. It seems like a masturbation thing. That's what I can't stop thinking about. So we have to like. Get
and
that
also,
out.
it's
Did anyone else think about? People have thought slow jerkin. Come on, yeah. Engineer Joey's nodding his head. That was my first. I honestly was like, oh yeah, a gherkin is a pickle. My first reaction was slow jerkin.
My first thought was gherkin is a pickle, and they like to skank
That's
and
because
pickle.
you're heavily repressed.
Yeah,
A gherkin is a pickle.
yeah.
All right.
A gherkin is a pickle.
This is my.
I thought it was like, oh, that's funny. It's like a pickle and it's like jerking.
But no, yeah, maybe I'm too prudish, and I just didn't think that.
Maybe.
Maybe repressed is not the word I would
He's
use.
wearing. Well, I was like, what's the puritanical outfit? I don't know, like a big black, like
Where's
a
this coming
pilgrimage
from?
out. I don't.
I'm not a Quaker.
You kind of are. Only in sex stuff,
Okay.
and also when you ask for a bio break.
Noted. I won't say bio break anymore. Celine is having the time of her life. So basically, the band is just practicing at their houses, wherever they can be had. There's a lot of basement playing. But during the following school year, they added Brigham on the trombone and Josh on the trumpet to fill out the horn section. And now they're taking the whole affair seriously. 1994 rolls around and they felt they could scrounge up a demo and recorded Death of a Salesman in 2 days and released it on their own Join or Die Records. 3 of the 4 tracks, Zen and Soccer, Salsa 3, Drunken Sailor, would wind up on their debut album, while the 4th, Covert Advertising, would appear on Death of a Ska Band many years later. This is what Jim had to say. All of a sudden, our audience had changed from our friends and a scattering of old drunks to 600 kids, many of whom we didn't know. I feel that. That's kind of like this podcast. It went from like Joey listening to it to like other people in other countries listening to it. I thought I'd play Salsa 3. That was a song I just mentioned.
Oh yeah, that's a good song.
So this is like one of their very first songs they recorded.
Is it?
Yeah. Ooh, there's the Vibra Slaps link.
Where's 1 and 2?
It's true. They didn't have a Salsa 1 or 2.
Picante.
Picante.
APK. That's it. Right?
These like early recordings are rough in terms of like just sound quality.
But it's a groovy tune.
Pretty fast. I do like it. They did a lot of like.
They are not afraid to have a long intro.
Yes.
So I'm not like
that's
super
true.
familiar, other than just being Rob adjacent in my life. This is my first solid.
I'm another
listen
in your
through.
life. Oh, that's a tease.
But yeah, what, a 1 minute intros all around. I was like, this is an instrumental, and sometimes I'll skip things, and then I'm like, I can't skip it because 1 minute 15 seconds is the start of the song. I mean, it's good instrumentals, but. Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's
they're
fair.
not afraid.
I would
they're
say
not
that
afraid for
this
a long intro.
this will come up much like on their second album.
as,
for
as
sure.
like someone who is freshly listening to this.
Yeah.
Long intros.
Yeah.
Good, but
Yeah.
long.
I sometimes get the impression that maybe like some of the songs that actually do have lyrics might have started out as instrumentals
Yeah.
because like the horns have like their own melody that's so developed.
Totally.
And like you hear them play in the background while like the singer is singing. It's like I feel like this started out as an instrumental and then somebody wrote lyrics to it.
Totally. And some of my favorite
I actually
songs that stood
agree
out
with that.
were was an instrumental. Actually, my favorite song.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be curious to know what that is.
You already know what it is.
Oh, the one you texted me about? All right.
yeah.
All right. That's on Shed Some Skin. Man, we're gonna have a lot of thoughts on Shed Some Skin. That comes up a little bit later. So
But anyways,
let's
yeah.
keep the time Scotchine going. Although, Kenny, how do you feel about
yeah.
Salsa 3?
How do you feel about Salsa 3?
How do I feel about Salsa 3? I don't know. Want to know something?
Yeah, I do.
It actually sounds kind of all right. It's I don't know. Slow Gherkin, like, you know, their early stuff it's like one of those things where like you could tell that they have a lot of skill. You could tell that they're like good songwriters and the horn players like really understand how to do an arrangement, but they still play kind of sloppy and maybe they don't know. They're a little overindulgent when it comes to like, you know, having like a tight form with their songs at that point. So that's kind of how I feel
Yeah.
about some of the early stuff, but we'll talk about that more with like the first real album, I guess.
Absolutely. So let's keep going. And by the end of 94, the band had recruited some new mainstays, including Polka Peter Cowan on the keys. Very important player in the
A
band.
hard L on that polka.
Polka in the eye.
Polka?
Polka.
Sure.
Rob
Polka.
on tenor sax and Matt Porter replacing Josh on the trumpet/valve trombone. By 1995, this lineup would frequently do mini California tours dubbed Weekends with Gherkin, because they were still in school, where they would just van up and down the California coast on weekends to play shows. This is where they got hooked up with the band Punch the Clown, who are pretty sweet, who asked for them to contribute some songs to their compilation entitled This Is Raj, This Is Ska. The band headed into a nice studio in San Francisco to record Thumbs Down for Generation X, Este Toro, and Meat Dance. And this compilation would also include Punch the Clown, Filibuster, Mars Villa, and Blind Spot. I don't really know most of those groups. Sold well enough for that Raj agreed to work with the band to release their debut, which will come up soon. But I do want to play Thumbs Down for Generation X, because that was a standout as well.
Or Gen X.
Well, I think they would have been Gen X.
I
So it'd be like if we had a song that was like Thumbs Down for Millennials.
oh, the people.
And then we would be like, too old. That's what millennials all
What are
say.
they saying about Gen X?
He said upstairs.
No, but why?
They're just being self-deprecating.
That's fun and anthemic.
Yeah. I actually dig this song. It's fun.
This would be a fun song live.
I bet you
To
they're
yell at with them.
I bet you they're fun live. They were big Skank and Pickle fans, like really get that in the way they write songs. Like it was meant to be played live. It was meant to have everybody just jumping around and going crazy. Like their cover of Drunken Sailor is like apparently famous. So Kenny, what's up?
Okay, wait. Let's talk about this.
Okay.
So they're big Skank and Pickle fans, and you say the name Slow Gherkin just came from nowhere.
That's what they say, and I call bullshit. Hard bullshit.
Okay.
Do you call bullshit
Yeah.
too?
I
It's
thought
gotta
it was an intentional parody of Skank and Pickle,
Right.
like you just inverse the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's what I thought happened.
Correct.
See, I like that. That
It
gives
has to
purpose.
be. You can't be like Skank and Pickle is our favorite band of all time, and Slow Gherkin has nothing to do with it. Like, I said that all in one sentence, and it sounds ridiculous, right?
It does. Yeah.
I've never heard a more ridiculous sentence in my whole life,
You're still young.
and I never will.
So here's what Jim said.
Dying right now.
We spent most of summer 1995 polishing our 11 newest songs at AJ's mom's house in Bonnie Doon, not where we live.
Hey, Jay's
then-
mom's house in Bon. I've probably been there.
And then recorded them slowly, section by section, over the next 6 months. We came up with the title Double Happiness while eating at a Chinese restaurant in San Jose called Bowtown. So things would become much more serious for the band, so they decided to pull Jim off the drums to focus on singing and also play guitar. In this stage, the band had rotating vocals, and the new tracks would have Jim taking more of a lead in the singing department. They added Zach on the drums, and now they're complete. The first lineup of the band is finished. After playing an opening show for Let's Go Bowling, the group purchased an orange and white van that they called the Creamsicle and went on their first true 2-week tour with Janitors Against Apartheid in 1996. Underrated band. In May of that same year, they released their proper debut, Double Happiness, with Raj Records, followed by a supporting tour with Punch the Clown, up and down the West Coast. Let's talk about it. It's Double Happiness time.
Woo.
I'm getting my show notes out.
Happy.
Boy, do I have thoughts.
Happy.
I'm just going to play the first song, this is track 1, just to get the conversation rolling.
All right, cool.
Slaughterhouse. So is this close to the laziest song ever written?
Laziest? What do you mean?
Yeah, why lazy?
They literally are doing this, like...
Oh,
the
I see what
bass,
you mean. It's the same
horns.
melody.
Yeah, it's the same melody. Bass, horn, vocal, same
Honestly,
melody.
that's if I were a song, that's what it would be.
I see what you mean. It's not that lazy though. They put in some variation.
There's a little bit.
you know.
So it could be lazy.
It totally could be.
I guess when you...
How many songs have you written?
You know what?
Rob?
A couple. They're bad. I wrote a song. My band had a song called Scombi that I wrote.
That's fun.
Damn. Okay. I almost get the... Whatever. I'll talk when it's over.
I can't wait. These vocals or something.
Yeah, he's got better vocal quality.
They really are.
Yeah, the vocals are a little.
Jim sounds a little rough.
Hard on my ears. I'm not gonna lie.
I do like this
But
part.
this is a fun skank.
Yeah, this is a jam part. But this is just madness. But it's great. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Like ska is like it's influences. But it's great.
KMoy, please lay it on
Hi.
us thick.
Okay.
Lay it on us.
Like when it comes to this album, my overall review of it is it's not really good. And that's the reason why my review of it is because it's 18 fucking songs.
Too
Like, it's
long.
It's 18 fucking
It's like
songs of
movies
stuff
these
that's
days.
not all that great. I think you could find maybe 7 songs on this thing that's worth listening to, and I think Slaughterhouse is one of them.
All right.
I think Slaughterhouse is one of the better tracks on here.
Oh yeah.
But
but
ugh,
unnecessarily
it does get to
long.
be
When
too
you-
much.
honest-
It's grating.
So part of the problem, and so it's
As an
great that you say
album.
this. I wrote.
It's grating.
You can cut out 8 songs and rearrange it and make a
Easy.
decent debut.
Yeah.
Like you could easily do
Yeah.
that. You can cut out those 2 fucking live songs. They recorded them.
Oh, for sure.
They recorded them in a parking lot.
When I listened to this
Like
album,
seriously, it was recorded in a
I
parking
almost
lot.
had a moment where I was gonna like live on the podcast say, I think I've had too much ska. But then when I listened to the third one, I was like, okay, there's some good. Okay.
It's
I like
not
the
all.
I like the keyboard. We're back in. It's a little punk rock. Okay. But after this album, after like the whole one, I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe no more.
There's
maybe
just
no
some-
more. No mas.
It's really like every idea they had. It's like there's no editing. It was just like whatever idea we have, we record that song. Some songs are like 5 minutes long. Some songs are a minute and a half. I think it's like 50 minutes long, like which I think is too long for 18 songs.
Yeah,
like
me too.
I'm just
like,
looking at some like the dub song isn't even a dub song.
oh, I think I kind of forgot about that. I want to talk about my history with this album, if that's okay.
Yeah, hit me.
So like, Shed Some Skin was the one that I really got into, but like, even though Shed Some Skin was literally the first ska song I heard, I didn't actually get into that album until like 2010, I think, maybe 2009. But like when that happened, I went onto Asian Man Records and I ordered all the other Slow Gherkin CDs.
I did the same thing.
And so listening to this one, I think even though I liked some of it, I feel like I never even got through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because like as soon as I got bored, I'm like, you know what, let's check out the other albums because there's like better stuff on like Death of a Ska Band and way better stuff to listen to endlessly repeatedly on Shed Some Skin. But like, yeah, so there are these things, there's this thing in punk rock, thing in ska punk where like sometimes teenagers will just make this great, amazing, beautiful album like Operation Ivy,
Yeah.
Energy, 27 songs, all of them are probably fucking classic, all of them. Sometimes that happens. Slapstick did kind of a similar thing. I think half that album is great, but it's still decent for 25 songs. Slow Gherkin, I don't think they weren't able to pull off the same thing really here with their debut.
I agree.
And I kind of forgive them because they were kids, but like there's still some good stuff in here. It's mostly towards the first half of the album for me.
That's very
like
fair.
The first,
I really agree because like my favorite song, and I think it's yours too, was Cable, which is the third track.
yeah, I
on
like
there.
Cable. Cable's like a funny joke song to me that I really enjoy.
And it's decently catchy. It's well written. It's like I also think that they suffer from something that's not their fault, which is that they have better records later, right? We have this conversation about like
The old better records later of
like for example RX Bandits, right? Like I think that they're plagued by resignation. You know, the other thing is this isn't Jim singing too, right? So it's nice to have like the variety of singing.
Yeah, can you like I don't know everybody's name in this band. I know nobody's name in this band. Can you refresh me the names of like the two singers?
So Jim and AJ are later on, like on Shed Some Skin, they're the dual vocaling. But like almost everybody is singing on this record. So I don't think it's either of them. But don't quote me on that.
I'm quoting on it. Rob says that not everyone on this record sings.
I'm a sucker for an oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
But I shouldn't say that. We have a complicated history of skinheads. They've
Yeah.
gotten mad at me.
I like that song. That's like one of the songs where the joke of the song is actually, endearing to me. Sometimes songs have a joke to them and it's just annoying.
These are
But
not
like
my
that one I
pants.
like. I like the one where what's the one? The meatloaf one.
Yeah.
That one's pretty good.
I like the rap one
I
with
like
the,
the
just like the
meatloaf.
beeping. Like they're just like pretending like they're swearing, like and they're beeping it. I thought that was funny.
But yeah, that's weird. That's one of those things where like I listened to the These Are Not My Pants opera from Five Iron Frenzy when I was like a little kid. I'm like, this thing is funny. And then I listened to it later, like this year, and I'm like, part of this feels like a hate crime. That's all.
Mic drop. The mic was dropped.
That is the pull quote from this episode.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, we need an audio
oh
clip.
god. And so I just wrote like you hear influences from Madness, Mustard Plug, Parka Kings, maybe. I don't know. There's like a lot of that like wacky, like Misfits of Ska type thing going on. But to your point, it's like played by. I think they're not playing something that is their own yet. It's also part of it. It feels very much like they are
Just homages to
homage
other
to their
things.
famous favorite bands, and the fact that they recorded it in like 5 different places doesn't help. It just makes it not cohesive. And there's some songs that they played like a year ago, some songs they played 2 years ago. Like it's really just a hodgepodge, and they're not tour tested yet either, right? Like with this type of thing that was a big deal in the 90s is when you would road test all your music, right? And they didn't do that yet, and I feel like that is more relevant on their follow-up. So I feel like we're mean to Double Happiness. I don't like it.
Double sadness.
But
I don't
what
want
they
to be
would say.
mean to Double Happiness. I'll be mean when it comes time for it. I'll be mean later.
the I will say though that Jim, when he was on that podcast I mentioned, he said don't listen to this. He has like he really
There's
doesn't
some
like it.
fun songs. There's some moments.
I'm gonna pull one more song, Bad Driver, and there's a reason why I pulled this.
Yeah, I like this one. Was kind of a fun time.
I just like an 80s hardcore song too, so this is not ska.
It's like an ode to Punkity Rockety.
Yeah, Joey's rocking. This is a Joey song.
Really, I thought it's kind of like an Arianne song. I thought it was going to be a song Arianne would listen to.
Oh yeah, this might be a Arianne song.
This is like a tap your toes at an Edmonton show. This is what Edmonton punk's like. I say that, but I also like the song.
But
I am that person tapping my toe at the show to this.
Interesting. Those background vocals, they feel kind of like Bad Religion-ish.
yeah,
Yeah.
which would have been relevant at that time. Bad Religion would have been at the peak of their powers. That would have been, that would have been no self
Of their
control era.
average white dude
Yeah.
powers.
Average white dude.
Yeah, there's a inverse relationship from Greg Griffin. Fuck, I can't say his name. His hair and the quality of their music.
Mm.
Mm.
Wait, I have a thing to say. Just one more thing
Of
on this
course,
record.
please.
My favorite one is Slaughterhouse. That's
Okay.
my favorite one
Okay.
from the thing. And that's like that's the vegetarian anthem on the thing.
For
It's
sure.
like the song where the guy is singing about how you shouldn't eat meat, or he's trying not to be preachy about it, but that's basically the message of the thing.
Yeah.
And I just think, one, that's a cool thing to write a song about.
Definitely.
I don't hear a lot of songs about that in ska. I feel like there should be more because there seems to be like a
Morrissey's too
good number of
busy doing
vegans
it.
these days. And also, it's really catchy horn line. I really like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my favorite one on the.
I
on
will
the-
say that
on
we
the
have a
song.
theory that actually ska bands like to make fun of vegetarians in the 90s because there are so many songs like Meal of Meat by the Planet Smashers and that Real Big Fish song on Turn the
Oh
Radio
yeah,
Off.
the one about the
Yeah.
vegans
Scotanic.
from the first album.
no,
well, not the
Scotanic.
first album.
Turn the Radio Off.
Second album.
I think it's on both.
Turn the radio
Yeah.
off.
But so
I never count Everything Sucks. I don't know why. I just like skip that album entirely.
There's-
I feel like most people do.
yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, listeners, listen to our episode of the Third Rates where we talk about Real Big Fish. I will say the one thing about Bad Driver is the guitar player is Lynette from Skank and Pickle.
Lynette,
Yeah, we
Oh.
stand Lynette.
the
Oh,
queen.
She fucking
Yeah, she's great.
shreds. It is unreal how good a guitar player she is. So yeah, that's Double Happiness. Let's
okay. Can I say one thing right now? I kind of have to. This is like a podcast audio sort of note right
Mm-hmm.
now. I live in New York. These radiators go off whenever they want to. One's going off right now.
We don't
So,
hear it.
Joey, if you need to use a noise gate on my voice so you don't hear that thing in the background all the time, that's cool.
Aw,
it, buddy.
that's nice of you to care. Joey's grinning from ear to ear. Cheshire cat over there.
All right. Moving on. Let's go to the summer of ska, 1997. It was time to take things to the next level.
Hey, could you pass me that SPF?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What? Oh yeah, right. Because it's 97. Is that good SPF or bad SPF?
Good.
Okay, good.
It's almost 100, and 100 is the recommended SPF.
Perfect. So we're just 3 shy.
Yeah.
I'm very pale, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I always need more. 250. So it's time to take things to the next level. I said that already. The band was one of the first few groups to get signed to a new fledgling label, Asian Man Records, who promptly reissued Double Happiness with an expanded track list. The band connected with Siren 6. Kenny, we were talking about Siren 6. I did listen to that album. I've never listened to Siren 6 really before.
Prior?
And then Kenny had hooked me up and said, you should probably listen to it.
I
And
thought
did.
you knew stuff about ska. Why haven't you heard that before?
I don't know.
I got to hear about this connection. I need to hear about this.
The connection with Siren 6? They
Yeah,
went on tour
yeah.
together. That's about it.
Okay.
But for like
And-
for a long time, for like 6 weeks in '97. So we're talking.
No, that matters.
Yeah.
That's like when the Beatles went on tour with Little Richard. You can hear it in their music. Okay,
You're
this
seeing
makes
it?
sense.
Because like I think Siren 6, the Hippos, Slow Gherkin, we're all talking about bands that have a famous post ska history. Let's just say. So it's interesting
yeah.
that they all kind of played together. So same with RX Bandits. I would throw them in that
Yeah.
as well.
Damn. I wasn't even thinking about the post ska shit. I was just thinking about how like the Siren 6 organ sounds like the one that, well, part of the ones that they would be using on Shed Some Skin. We'll
Right.
get into those later.
Which is coming up pretty shortly here. So this tour is 22 states. I mean, we're not talking 1997. Like, you can get a tour booked for ska, like, no problem. Like, it was, forget about it. They were not going to have a hard time. They go coast to coast, marking the first international exposure for the band. This was the impetus for the band to go full time, relatively speaking. They played a ton of shows in Cali and then contributed to another comp called Bay Area Ska, which included Janitors Against Apartheid, Blind Spot, Monkey, and Flat Planet, which is probably how Aaron got to know them. So, and got them for the book. So Rob would then be replaced by Monkey saxophonist Ross Purd through the connection with the
I wish you got replaced by a monkey. I'm
quality.
listening.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Go on.
They would do 2 more countrywide tours in '98. So here's what Jim said. We rented a rehearsal studio and practiced 6 hours a day, 5 days a week for the next 2 months. It was hard work, and the pressures to be creative day after day sometimes seemed too much. But we pulled through, and in June recorded 14 songs and trimmed it down to 12. Mike Park, according to Carnes, was nervous about the album as it was going to be lavishly produced with huge liner notes, 24-track studio, and felt that ska was in its final moments. He would pace back and forth and say, "No one is going to buy this record," and then leave. The result of this intense writing and recording process was Shed Some Skin. We've talked about it. It is a watershed, pun intended, moment for the band as they truly honed their style, adding elements of power pop, classic rock, indie, to make more of a ska rock style, with AJ and Jim implementing a more dual vocal style. Released in October of '98 through Asian Man Records, unfortunately, Mike would prove right, and the album failed to meet the sales expectations of the debut. It sold less than the debut, which is surprising, not surprising. '98 is
What do you
Iffy.
think Ska's final words were in its last moments? He said Ska's final moments. What do you think it said? KMoy.
Oh,
What would
do I
Ska
think?
when the Ska was dying in its final moments? What was the year? Ska's death.
90. Well, I say 99, but sure, 98.
Okay, so 98, the year that Ska was dying. What do you think Ska's last words were?
I'll just pretend that Ska's last words were, I don't know, it was fun.
Aw.
or- I'll just
No,
make
I
something
love
more
that.
dramatic.
It was fun.
Rob.
Oh my god, my improv skills. Bleh. No, it's like.
I give this experience 1 out of 2 tones.
If I drop dead, pick me up.
I thought I heard a saxophone. Ugh.
Perfect.
Damn, Ska. Why'd you have to die like that?
K-Moy, you brought
that?
me back to life with your music. Thank Tape Girl for me.
22 years later.
This is the
Okay.
voice of Ska.
Ska has a weird voice, and I don't like talking to it.
Hey, you have a weird voice.
Could you imagine if Ska broke into my apartment and said, KMoy, you brought me back to life? I'd be like, oh my god.
And
how did Ska
thank
find
Tape
me?
Girl for me.
I will. I won't give her address to you, please.
I'll find
Stop
her.
offering people.
I found you. I can find her.
Goodbye, I'm always watching.
Here's something to leave me by. It just like drops a wallet on the ground.
Anyways.
A wallet. Okay, anyway, there's that.
Let's listen to Trap Like Rats and Myers Flat, the first track on Shed Some Skin, just to kick things off. This is Celine's favorite thing, their minute-long intros. It is the endearing part of Shed Some Skin.
I'm always like, okay, it's instrumental, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Listen, those keys are fucking amazing.
Yeah, I like the keyboards. They're fun.
Oh, it sounds so much better. Money well spent, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds great.
The horn line is just flawless. And his voice,
Much better.
much better.
It really is. You gotta who's singing on this song? I don't know their names.
Jim. But you hear AJ in the back. You hear him doing the little toasts and they sing together. Hell yeah. It's a song about driving their band. So good.
Yeah.
But there's more poignancy with their songs, less jokes. It's not as funny, but I guess like in a good way. Like it's still funny, but like they're not like trying to be like juvenile about things anymore. It's more like road tested. Thoughts, Kenny?
This is my favorite. This is my favorite ska punk album, definitely. Maybe my favorite album in the whole ska genre, possibly.
Wow.
It's fucking amazing.
So yeah, I'll talk about my history with this album a little bit, and then I'll just rant a little bit until you want to cut me off. But
please.
Okay, so I first heard this song, Shed Some Skin, in 2004. I didn't even hear the whole song. I just heard the opening horn line at the end of bonus stage during the credits. And like, so after I got all those like Amazon purchases and stuff, I actually bought the whole album on iTunes digitally. And I listened to it a couple of times. And I have to tell you, I was kind of creeped out. Because I felt like, because like Jim's voice was so freaking weird to me. And like the album, like it felt kind of dark in some parts. It felt like I wandered into... It felt like when you go to like Blockbuster as a kid and you get one of the VHSs that's not like really popular at all, and you just went some weird movie from some weird studio, and you feel weird for having watched it, and you felt like you shouldn't have gone there. That's how
like
I felt listening to the album. It was weird.
Yeah.
So I would have this on and off relationship with the album where like every couple of years I would try listening to it again, but like I left it alone for like 5 years or something. Then I listened to it again in 2010, where I was 20 years old, and I guess I was like old enough to actually appreciate the album. And it clicked with me so hard, and I loved everything about it immediately. I loved everything about it so much. I'm like, I want to form a band that sounds exactly like this. And like this album to me is so special because it brings in it's like everything that I feel like ska punk should be. Because like, first off, it's not derivative. It doesn't sound like the other ska punk bands, in which case you almost have to say ska rock, because like the influences aren't just like, oh, we're going to do some kind of Green Day sounding sort of pop punk thing. And, just like do the sort of formula that like Less Than Jake was doing, or like Real Big Fish was doing. They're really doing their own thing. They have their own guitar tones where it sort of feels more like, more in line with like, Fugazi than it does with, like that kind of pop punk thing. And the horn arrangements are just so gorgeous. These people, they made the most out of their four horns. They know when to play in unison. They know when to play in harmony. And it sounds beautiful. The keyboard sounds beautiful. I love how the organ, it'll like do the stuff where like it plays ska like a ska organ should, but then it'll have these little melodic lines in there, like in Trap Like Rats in Myers Flat before the bridge. You have the organ go like da 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 da. It has this nice melodic thing going on. And also the bridge of that song again,
an angel.
It's like a beautiful bridge too, because you have like this alternate melody going on, and you have a call and response with the two singers, but then you also have the horns playing their own fucking melody. And I wouldn't have even written that because I would have felt like it was too cluttered, but it's not too cluttered. If you listen to it on the album, it just sounds beautiful. It's gorgeously produced. All that money was fucking worth it. And the drums sound great too. I wish that people like ska producers these days would listen to like drums like this, because I feel like people have an obsession with making the snare too loud and punchy these days, man.
Yeah.
Don't have to be that loud and punchy to have an impact. I'm just telling you.
Listen to
and
this.
So like, I feel like nowadays we actually might have an opportunity to make records like this again, since we make collaborative records over the internet.
Why the hell not?
So like doing a slow Gherkin like for the last 20 years almost, would have been freaking impossible to have a band with 4 horns, a keyboard, 2 guitars, and a drummer.
That's like D&D.
Like that's and a
like a big
bassist. That's
D&D
too much
group.
people.
Yeah.
So like these are the kind of like ska dreams that you think of that could be sort of impossible, but you can make something like this over the internet.
Totally.
It probably won't have that same. It may not have that same spark because Slow Gherkin, it was a collaborative experience and these people got to play together, but we could kind of make something that's kind of like this. And so, yes, love this album. I love it. Oh, it's so good.
Amen.
That's me.
Let's listen to Shed Some Skin a little bit. So one of the things I will say too about, we talk about how they build into their music. Like there's a nice intro where the instruments all kind of add into each other, kind of part of the songwriting. But this is towards the end of Shed Some Skin. They know how to fucking release tension on a song too, and just blow it up at the end.
The keyboards really sell it for me.
So
This
good.
really saved me from a place of no more ska.
Poke
Keyboards
Peter.
really took me out of it.
I'm glad because that keyboard is really
The keyboard's
working
really
there.
good for
Like
me,
it's doing a
honestly.
great job.
And
Rob, you made such a great fucking point right there. I gotta hand it to you. Because, you know, that third verse, it's really like no other in the song. Even when AJ comes in with the harmony vocals like, we'll be here still. It's like very quiet as opposed to the other ones. Like even when you feel it building, it doesn't reach that crescendo until we finally get to the last chorus. And it's just so anthemic. And it just really builds up. And man, I was feeling wistful just listening to that song because it's so fucking ironic that that's like a song about like growing up and getting old. And like I listened to that when I was 14 or 13 for the first time. And now I hear that when I'm 31 and it means so much more.
Yeah,
I too am 31.
I think you guys are born in the same year.
90?
Yeah,
Year of a
1990.
horse.
I guess so. I didn't know that, but I do now.
Let's throw on Another in Your Life, my favorite song on the record. I love it so
I love
much.
this one. I can make jokes about this song though, because it sounds like trailer music for like a comedy.
Ha.
It really does.
This is like,
Just like this whole intro,
yeah.
Me,
you know,
Jackie.
New Line Cinema presents. Bonnie, you gotta stop leaving your clothes all over the floor.
Mom!
A new comedy for the whole fucking family. You know, that sort of shit.
If you keep going down that route, you're gonna end up in jail like your father.
That's like a Hallmark movie. Who would be in a movie like
You know,
that?
so-
Like James Grodin. James Grodin stars.
Nothing's been the same.
Despite the
since
jokes though,
Jackie
no,
died.
this is a great song.
This is good.
It really is.
It's like a good, like this is one where you talk about that guitar tone. It's like
Oh, sure.
super unique.
And yeah, I love how the
And
guitar
this is AJ singing.
is like, it's playing a counter melody with the organ too, and that's great. And I love the organ tone. You know, it's got like, I don't know, it feels like the 80s, feels like a Devo thing. I don't fucking know, but like, yeah.
They have such a like a heartland rock thing kind of going along, like a little Springsteen, a little petty. Yeah. Like in the way they just like
Like
yeah,
that.
like that.
That thing.
Yeah.
Who does
Start
that?
stopping the guitar.
What ska band does that? That's so great. Just that organ doing the one note there. It sounds great.
There's something to that
And then
simplicity.
you add in the fifth.
Yeah.
Add in the fifth during the second iteration so that, you know, it doesn't sound boring. Great.
I think like thing with Double Happiness is that there was a simplicity to it that was maybe to its detriment, but there's a simplicity to Shed Some Skin that's in its favor. Like they'll do simple things like that, like just a one note
Mhm.
that just makes everything for the song, right?
Makes it
Yeah, it's
easy
great.
to listen to.
Yeah, that's a good point because, you know, that's why I feel like this album is genius because, like, sometimes I can use the word maximalist to describe some of the sections, you know, as opposed to minimalist, where, like, there's so much going on, but it's never overwhelming, and they really know how to balance all of it. I feel bad for gushing over this record because, like, the next one, I'm going to be so mean to it.
Yeah,
Like,
let's get rid. But Celine probably wants to talk about Stash.
I liked it.
All right,
It
yeah.
stood out for me. It's like actually it's the one song out of like the 3 albums I listened to that stood out.
It's really good. I mean,
Oh, wait, there's one more thing I want to talk
Sure.
about in this. I got to say this. Get Some More. That song, Get Some More.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. That stood out
it
too.
marked me as like Go from Mustard Plug, where it's like, this is the halfway point of the album.
And speaking of which, there's a breakdown in the song where you sort of think like it's gonna end and it's like getting slow. And I love that bit, how like it builds up after that. But I also like they do a reprise of it at the end of the album. After How Now Lowbrow, they reprise that section from Get Some More.
Like,
I'm like, that's freaking genius. Come on.
Yeah. I love it. And How Now Lowbrow, I don't have time to listen to more music. I'd love to just play every fucking
Are you
song.
playing Stash?
I don't have it.
Oh,
Sorry.
That's the one song
Well,
I asked you to play.
I had the songs all ready to go when you texted me.
Oh my god, you couldn't add one song.
I'm sorry. It's going. Oh, there we go.
Thank you.
There we go. We'll put it on the playlist.
Yeah, we'll put it on the. Oh my god,
Marked for the playlist.
Rob,
Sorry.
the Rob show featuring Rob and more Rob with Rob songs and Rob.
You were the one making all the jokes, actually.
Yes,
Pretty good one.
exactly. That's why I should get. That's why
I wish you were replaced by a monkey. It's pretty funny.
Out of context is funnier.
All right. 1998. Let's finish it off. This is where they would get their big break. John Avila of Oingo Boingo would get hooked up with them to be their producer for their next album. Superstar ska producer. Produced Turn the Radio Off, as we just said. They had just finished an all-star show in New York with the Toasters, Edna's Goldfish, and the Ska'ds. All amazing. I love all those bands. When Avila approached them and mentioned that his kid's a big Gherkin fan, and so they seemed like they were on top of the world. The band would not just shed some skin, though. They would shed some members. Matt, Brigham, and Zach would leave the group. Longtime collaborator Achilles Polyanis would join on trombone, and Brendan Thompson would take over bass. But unfortunately, all this turmoil took its toll on the band's ability to turn out tours and music, and unfortunately, the deal with Avila fizzled out. This would be what Aaron Carnes in his book called the first few waves of ska shame. Jim says, we felt like we were just the lamest guys around all of a sudden. The band would compile several more songs to include on splits with the RX Bandits, a Jeffrey's fan club, and these songs, as well as the outtakes from Shed Some Skin, would appear on something called Roman Holiday, which was released in 2000, not in the scope of our episode today, but we're getting towards the end, because the band would suffer its biggest identity crisis.
Uh-oh.
Here is a quote from Rickman regarding their writing process. We did what so many other ska bands did, which was to suddenly get totally self-conscious. That was the real sellout moment, I think. All ska bands got mocked all of a sudden. We were like, abandon ship. I like Run Screaming. We wrote great songs, but it's not a ska album. On one hand, we were getting to be a better band, but we were having a total identity meltdown.
Yeah,
right
it sounded
kind
kind of like 90s rocky, 90s alt rocky.
Ooh, I have some thoughts on that, yeah. So this is the
Right?
band's final true studio album, Running Scared, that would land in 2002 through Asian Man Records, and their final show would be at the end of the same year. The album is a dismal failure, failing to sell its 2000 first run.
Aw.
That brings us basically to the
Poor
end
album.
of Slow Gherkin's life. They didn't even tour Running Scared, for the record. They just played a couple shows for it.
That's sad.
So let's talk about Running Scared. I'll kick it off by playing the first song on the record.
I'm so excited to hear after what KMoy has to say.
This is He's Gotta Go.
We've all had identity crises. Crises.
Yeah, that's the one.
You could put ska here. They chose not to. It's like deliberately not putting ska in a part that could have it.
There wasn't even a mozzarella stick meme then. And they were embarrassed. Horn. Sounded like a trumpet.
Anyway,
I don't know if there was one. No, I think there's a trumpet in this. There might be. The horn section sounds a little darker on the album.
it's trimmed down.
Pretty
There's only 3
good.
on the final, and I think it's the same trumpet / valve bone fella.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it. Running Scared. No ska
Okay.
at all.
Let's The floor is open. KMoy.
Okay, so
Well, how do you feel?
one, I don't like this album, and I've actually listened to it like, I don't know, like 4 times in preparation of this to try to get over myself and try to enjoy it and like see what I can like about it. And there are some things that are still pretty good about it, you know. Despite the identity crisis, they still, you know, they haven't reverted to like being like, you know, like a pop punk band sort of thing. They haven't changed that part of their
They
sound.
didn't do like Save
But
Ferris.
they've taken the ska out of their sound, and that to me is a big hit. It's a big hit to their sound. And this happened with the Siren 6 also. And so I have to talk about this. I know there was ska shame. I know that. And I know that ska wasn't profitable anymore, so I guess I could forgive that in like a philosophical way, in like a situational way. But
rent.
from a musical standpoint, it suffers so greatly because there are certain things where like the Slow Gherkin combining all those influences with ska is part of what made their sound great. Like even if you listen to something like Get Some More or Shed Some Skin, there's a ska guitar, there's a skanking guitar on there. Those songs are so fast and the drums are like playing a rock rhythm to the point where like you don't need that ska guitar there. It's not making you dance or anything, but it actually helps for the color of the album. It adds another color to like what's happening that it actually just makes things more interesting. It's an more interesting palette. And also they lost I think they lost the keyboard player on this album because I don't hear no organ anywhere.
He's still there.
And this whole
He's just
album
stripped out.
sounds like a dry sandwich because of it. Like it really does. It sounds so
Yeah, it needs some
dry.
mayo.
I feel like Jim's vocals on this thing, they sound kind of terrible. And I think that's not because of him, really. I think that he's always just been that kind of singer. It's just that the way that the album is produced now has brought his vocals so up front in the mix and so dry that it just feels naked. It feels like looking like at a close-up of somebody's face where you can just see all the pores. It's not good.
It's not
It's
flattering
really-
to his voice.
It's not flattering at all. And like, you know, the horns sound drier. The guitar tones
He
don't
needs
sound as
Facetune for the
distinct from each
voice.
other. Sure. But like, that's me being like kind of harsh to the album. But, you know, it's like one of these things where like, I don't know, if you listen to, like, let's take any like really classic, great musician, like, I don't know, like, let's say Little Richard, for example. If Little Richard didn't take whatever influences he had together to create his rock and roll piano sound, it wouldn't have been as good. If he would have been like, yeah, you know, that stuff is great, but I should take the gospel element out of that because it seems to be ruining it. Well, then that would ruin who you are. That would ruin everything that kind of made you good. Like people, I know that there's a thing, an egotistical thing where songwriters want to be able to stand on their own and be like, my songs are great no matter what genre. And sometimes that's the case. But look, we have to admit to ourselves that like the arrangement is part of what makes somebody a musician.
Right.
It's part of what does it. Like, you know, you look at Johann Sebastian Bach, one of his most popular songs is like, I'll just say the English version of it, Jesu, Joy of Man's Desiring. That wasn't his melody. The lead melody was something that his violinist came up with. Just the, you know, Jesus, blithe mine the Friday. And then he came up with all the violin shit and all the counterpoint. Because
Sorry,
that,
we
like,
just have to take a moment for that angelic moment that we were all blessed to have in our ears. I can't casually
Grand.
let that go. That was very magical. I have a single tear. Anyways, carry on.
okay. Anyway, arrangements are freaking important, and it's part of what makes music good. So anyway, I have all that to say. There are some songs that I like on this, but the one song that's my favorite song, I think I have a nostalgia bias for it because like I like downloaded an MP3 of it when it was like available as like a promo single on some website way back in the day when I was like 14, and that's Sally Boulevard. I like Sally Boulevard. That's a pretty nice song.
Just like that.
Just had it ready. It's
Just
it's
like
my
that.
favorite song on the album, and this is like I'd say my third time listening to it because I did the same thing as you did, where I just bought all 3 records all at the same time, and I only listened to Shed Some Skin, and then just didn't listen to the other 2. But it's AJ singing, and he sounds great. That's part of it too.
Yeah.
AJ's vocals aren't hurt. He sounds good.
And also, you know, those horns are good.
It's like a nice, good arrangement. I
power
just
poppy.
want to say, I don't think every song on this thing is bad. It's just, yeah, it pales in comparison to Shed Some Skin just being so amazing that like it kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth. But I also have to do this thing where I'm like, even despite the good parts of this album, would I listen to this if it wasn't Slow Gherkin?
Yes.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's the test of a truly great album. Like, we have bands that we love, and sometimes we'll listen to albums by them that aren't that great, but we just do it because it's that band that we love. But we know if it wasn't them, we probably wouldn't listen to this thing.
Yes.
Like, this wouldn't be the thing that would turn us on to the band. And that's how I feel about this record.
Yeah.
It has some moments, but, like, it's not really...
I wouldn't listen to
Yeah.
it either way. I wouldn't listen to it if it was by Slow Gherkin. I wouldn't listen to it if it wasn't. Yeah, that's kind of like Pussy Mask by Peaches. I thought it was like one of my favorite songs. I'm like, no, I just like it because it's a Peaches song.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes
I don't know anything about that, but I understand it.
I think that there's also something to be said in those cases. That's like when a songwriter is a personality.
You just blindly kind of like things.
yeah, it
sometimes.
attaches a different thing
I
to it.
definitely am very guilty of that.
Yeah.
Specifically, I do that all the time. Where I'm just like, I like this because I like the person,
Yeah,
and vice versa.
they
I
like
don't-
you because they're your person.
all the time. I don't like this because I don't like the person.
Yeah, no, that also goes along.
Vice versa. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
I think you can give a band more leeway because you like them, and you should.
Sure.
With this record, what you're doing is you're pulling out. When you pull the ska out, all that's left is like something that kind of sounds like Bush meets Tom Petty meets, like early
90s
2000s alternative rock.
Yeah, late
absolutely.
90s alternative rock. That's what the vibes I got.
And it just, what's left over is not something
like
interesting.
radio playable late
So
90s, early 2000s. Was it
this-
radio playable?
Well, I think they tried because the record
tried.
came out at the same time as Johnny Sacco's self-titled album, which was intentionally supposed to be we talked about on the Johnny Sacco episode, supposed to be a radio album that just fell into
funny.
pieces. Here's what's funny though: Still Standing came out a year later, right? So like in 2002, people were saying, "Oh, Ska's dead. We have to be a not a ska
Oh,
band."
the Mephistopheles, the Megalith Records.
Yeah, the Megalith
compilation.
Jump Stomp collabo, like one of the best compilations of all times. 88 songs, 3 CDs, during a time when ska was considered not a viable thing. And Ska's Dead came out 2 more years later, right? So like, they didn't have it. It really wasn't as dire as they thought, but they did have that impression because of like the media. But if they were looking in the right
Yeah,
place, like Mustard Plug was still going, Bucko 9 was still going. There's a lot of bands that were still going. They just
You said they give.
And it's so interesting that time
timeline
because
matters.
Streetlight Manifesto has like sustained a career for their entire existence, and like they started in 2002. They put out their
Correct.
first record in 2003.
Yeah, that's
know?
right. Everything Went Numb was 2003, 1 year later after this record was released. So the timing is just, it's funny. It's just like Skank and Pickle breaking up in 96. Like they waited 5 months, they would have been one of the best-selling, biggest touring bands of all time. Like in the genre,
Yeah,
at
for
least,
sure.
right? It's just the timing is just really, it strikes me. Anyway, that's my last kind of thought on Running Stream.
Oh, can I say
Yeah,
one
go
more
for it.
thing about like arranging? This is an insight into KMoy. So like when I was first imagining the Precure album in 2019, it was me and my roommate Nehemiah Williams who plays the bass, and I was trying to find a drummer so I could just play these songs live as a punk trio. That's what I wanted to do. So like it wasn't originally going to be a ska album, and since 1989 was going to be the only song that had anything to do with ska. But then like as I got into more of the ska community, I was like, yeah, this should be a ska album. I should do that way. And then like, when I started to record some of the songs, like Princess Precure originally was just going to have like 8 bars of ska in it, and that was going to be it. Or like 4 bars. I'm not really good at counting, but
Me either.
but then I decided, you know what? This song is fucking boring. It needs some more ska in here to make it interesting. And that's like, I stand by that statement that traditional punk, a la the Ramones, is a boring genre because
Ramones
everything that's
boring.
been done that can be done with the genre has already been done in the 70s and 80s you can't do anything else with just bass guitar, drums, and vocals in the punk genre and make it sound
Other
good.
than just being an
in my ears.
homage. You're not reinventing anything.
Yeah. So I'm like, you gotta add these other elements to like actually make something sound cool and interesting. So yeah, I did that thing that like, that I feel like Slow Gherkin was doing the opposite of on this album, where they had to strip away part of their identity because they felt like people wouldn't like it. And like, I'm sorry, it kind of makes you less interesting. Yeah. And I know maybe that hurts to hear, but these are things that we just have to acknowledge as musicians. There are certain things you might think of as gimmicks that just actually just make it more interesting music.
Yeah, there's being deliberate about that, where you're just like, I need to do this or people won't like me or people won't buy my records. Kind of removes the songwriter aspect of it a little bit.
Or it doesn't feel as authentic, I feel like, listening to this album.
And I also...
people can catch on if it's authentic
But
or
I
not.
also understand that authenticity doesn't always matter. Like, not for...
Fair.
There's people who do, like, the most... Like, Guar's not an authentic band. You know what I mean? Like, but they still do it.
There's an authenticity to it.
But it's all theatrical,
Theatrical.
right? But that's what they're doing. I guess there's something to be said about being deliberate in trying to sell records just doesn't hit as hard as, trying to actually write a song, I guess.
They're trying to throw a party and, like, get you to the show.
And that takes us to the end of the time ska sheen.
Chorus dance.
So, let's take one more break. When we get back, we're going to play some games.
Okay.
All right.
What the fuck you doing with your life these days? What the fuck you doing with yourself?
Welcome back to Checkered Past the Ska-Cast with Celine and Rob. We're here with Kenny. Just finished talking about Slow Gherkin, and now we're going to play some games. Before we get into the first game, though, Celine, talk to me about the Ska Daddy meter.
Okay, can I get a beat? Joey, give me a beat on Rob's mic. Rob can't do it. Ska Daddy, don't be saddy. You can be my mommy or my daddy. Rate you on a scale of 1 to 10. Oh, won't you please be our friend?
Debut.
Okay, that is the first time that's happened. Okay.
We're professional, and we take this podcast seriously. All right, Celine, talk to us about James Rickman. I assume is who you're going to pull up.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who's who.
You like went through all the effort to like do the song and everything, and you don't have a good picture.
Song. Okay, the main dude is cute. Like, there's a dude that's always in the front with like a little haircut, and he's cute. He has like little hockey hair.
So give it a rating then. That's Jim, by the way.
Okay, Jim.
Yeah.
That's one of the main guys?
That is the main guy, James.
Okay, he's very cute, actually. He's like an 8.5. He's very, very cute. He's tall, so unfortunately that is a thing. He's cute. He's aged well. He has got gray. I stand by it. He's a handsome man.
Want to know something? You said 8.5 and we were talking about how tall he was. I thought you meant he's like 8.5 feet tall. I was like,
he's 8.5 feet tall, so he's pretty handsome.
Yeah.
Definitely
There's
not,
a
like,
one-to-one. They get a one-to-one with
he's
how
so
attractive they are and how tall they are.
He's also dead because, that's sad. But I'm sure like he'd have heart problems like at that age.
Yeah, like Andre the Giant. I see what you're saying.
That's exactly who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Aw. He's not.
Are you saying like
real? This isn't real.
Are you saying like Dikembe Mutombo has like heart problems? Like,
how tall is he?
Very tall.
Is he 8.5 feet tall?
I don't think so.
Exactly. I was thinking 8.5 feet. Who's the other one?
AJ Marquez. I can't see a
Who's
picture.
the other
of him.
human being who is a whole person that I just reduced to one that I feel bad about? AJ, I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna like wrap it up. There's one other like cutie. The rest are like 7s. 7.
Okay, AJ got a 7. He
Okay,
sings.
fair.
He's a better
Celine.
singer, though.
Can you remember, like, who is the top ska daddy of all the ones
So
you've
far, it's
reviewed?
been Reese.
Reese.
From 5 Iron
So Reese is a 10.
Frenzy.
Yeah, I was thinking
He's
Reese
a
Roper. I really
beautiful
was.
man, right? Like he's beautiful,
It's
just like
To this
a
day.
symmetrical, inarguable, like good-looking person.
Yeah. I gotta say, the singing that he did on The End Is Here at the end of the last song, Every New Day, it's
crazy.
some of the best singing I've ever heard on any
live
record.
He's also
like
our,
by
in
a
our-
human.
What's our
It's
in
amazing.
our dream ska or a top? What is the thing we're doing?
Oh, and the playing Ska'd thing. We didn't do that on the podcast.
No,
yet.
but when we like made an ultimate ska band.
Yeah, he was the vocalist
he's
in
the
our ultimate
vocalist.
Ska band.
Anyways,
Yeah.
because he's voice of an angel, Reese Roper, otherwise known as Daddy.
That's where Ska Daddy comes from. Is from Reese Roper.
It's from Reese Roper.
Yeah. All right, now for another game. Sha-la-la-la-la, dum-dee-I-A. Sha-la-la-la-la, dum-dee-I-A. Who is streaming on Spotify? It seems random and without care.
Da-da-da.
It's almost like a carnival,
Ba-ba-da.
and yet the whole thing is not fair.
Meow, meow.
That's right, it's Big Five. In this game, Kenny and Celine will go through a Spotify list that I have pulled up, and we're going to try to find what the top 5 albums on this list are. And it's nice because Spotify did all their Wrapped stuff. So this is not ska related because there's not a lot of slow Gherkin stuff to talk about by way of Spotify. So this is what I thought was fun is what the top Spotify
What
streaming
I thought was fun.
albums from 20
really
years
selling the
ago
game.
plus. That's the list.
Okay.
So it's not current music. It
That's
was
only the 2000s.
it
Oh,
was-
plus.
yeah. So things older than 20 years ago, the most streamed albums. So we'll do this like Family Feud style. We'll just go back and forth. We'll name
And this is just albums in general, not ska.
And I'm going to say there are not a single ska on this list, as you can imagine.
I wouldn't think so.
But it's a fun list.
Is it?
And there's 5 on there.
Yeah,
No, I think
you
it's
don't have
fun.
to play the game.
Yeah, that's right. So we'll start with our guest. 3 incorrect answers and you get knocked out.
All right, cool. I can't wait to be knocked out.
Aw.
I will say there's no surprises on it, but it is a fun list, and I'll start to guide you as we go along.
Fun list.
All right,
Dude.
All right, Kenny, do you have a guess?
Okay, I'm just gonna do this guess right now, even though I'm wrong because you said no surprises. OK Computer by Radiohead.
Ah.
Yeah, of course that's wrong. Anyway, I don't know. 1989, Taylor Swift.
20 years ago plus.
Oh.
2000.
Oh, 20 years ago plus, for fuck's sake. You're right.
it's okay.
Sorry. Shit. Let's
I'll
see.
guide you that there is
let's
no
see,
there is no indie rock on this.
there's no independent rock music.
This-
Okay. How about
I would
Jesus, Michael Jackson even on the fucking thing?
no.
I
That
might
is
say
a
Thriller.
great guess, but no, Michael Jackson
Okay,
is
my turn.
not on the list. Yeah, Celine wants to take a stab.
The Beatles.
Yes.
The Beatles, Sgt. Pepper.
No, I'll just if
The
you.
Lost
I'll
Lonely
say.
Hearts
I'll say if you
band.
get the band, I'll give you. I'll give you a point.
Is that all the same album?
It's the yeah. It's the white. It's the white album.
The White Album.
Number 5.
Dang. I was really expecting Abbey Road.
But yeah, I'll
'Cause,
give you
you
a
know,
point if you.
Most popular
Sgt.
shirt.
Pepper's Lonely Heart Band. Hearts Club Band. I hate the Beatles. Sorry, that is also a thing.
Yeah, I know we
I'm
talked.
a fun person.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm also.
I'm such a fun person to be around.
But I'll say if you do get the band right, that'll apply. I'll say that is
Okay.
the oldest record on the list. Everything else is post 1970.
All right. Yeah, I'll do. Man, this is just like a typical popular album, but maybe it works with Spotify too. Let's do it. Fucking Fleetwood Mac.
Number
Rumors.
fucking 1.
Yeah.
Holy
Good
shit.
call, though. Yeah, it's having a
Yeah.
resurgence.
Number 1 with a bullet.
Resurgence. Yeah,
I
TikTok.
am shocked.
Also,
by that. Yeah.
good call though. Think about TikTok because that's what
Yes.
people are streaming.
And that's where you're going to get a lot of this. Okay, the last 3 bands are all guitar rock bands. So think classic.
I was gonna say something and then it like completely left my brain. Oh, I was gonna say Mariah Carey, but that's not a pop rock band.
Yeah, the last 3 ones are all guitar bands.
Guitar bands.
Yeah.
Guitar bands.
Okay, I'm gonna take this guess
Okay.
now. Oh, you said that. Well, I'm gonna say it might count as indie rock, but what if it fucking doesn't? Because it's not that independent. Do I want to take the Boomer guess or the
I would
Gen X
take-
guess?
Oh yeah, those are both good. There are Boomer and Gen X bands on this list.
Okay, I'm gonna do Nirvana.
No,
Fucking
never mind.
right. Number 2. Kenny is killing at this. This is great. Fun.
Corn, Slipknot.
Oh my god, you're so close.
Corn, Slipknot, Limp
Wow, really?
Bizkit. Corn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit.
Think more popular.
New metal, System of a Down.
More popular.
Slipknot and Corn, more popular.
More popular.
More popular.
Yeah.
But the same era.
Yes.
But the same Evanescence. No.
No, not as gothy. but you're in the right. Oh God, you're so
Lacuna
close.
Coil.
No, fucking Lacuna Coil.
That was on my playlist.
Yeah, Within Temptation. No, it's like, but you're in the like Korn, Limp Bizkit. Keep going.
There is. I said it. Rob Zombie.
Right? Do you want to take a guess?
Robert
At a-
Zombie.
at
Can you just say it? Just say it.
No, I want to see if Kenny
Oh
can
my
guess.
God.
Can you guess like a new metal band more popular than Korn, Limp Bizkit?
More popular than Korn and Limp Bizkit. And one of their members died recently. Oh man, I freaking heard about one of these things.
Oh,
where one-
Linkin Park.
some-
Linkin
Hybrid
Park.
Theory?
Yes.
Do I get an
Number
extra
3.
point for the album?
That's great. You
Yeah.
got it. I was never gonna guess that, but you
I
got
was
it.
gonna
That's
say-
great.
know
think-
why.
think
It doesn't
Jay-Z.
even matter how hard you try.
But I know
Keep
that.
Okay.
Yeah. There's one more. Now you have to think Boomer.
Rick Astley.
Guitar rock band.
Led Zeppelin
Rolling
4. How about
Stones.
that?
No.
Not Led Zeppelin 4. Damn.
No, it was a good guess though. But think 80s.
Metallica. AC/DC.
Oh my God, so close. You're in the right ballpark.
A Journey.
Yeah.
Journey.
Think
Toto.
LA.
L.A. Journey.
Think
Eagles.
LA. Toto is LA. Damn.
Yeah, but
What
think,
else is happening in
more
LA?
like
More hints.
more
me more
disgusting.
What do you mean more disgusting?
More
Yeah.
disgusting.
Toto wouldn't
Oh man, that's gonna be
think
hard.
disgusting LA
Who's
band.
disgusting?
Motley
that,
Crue.
that plays you are so close. Even closer.
Poison?
Yes, close. But more rocky.
Scorpions.
Not as metal.
More
Take-
rocky.
Take the metal out.
Not Brett Michaels.
Like someone's dad is probably a huge fan and thinks they're real edgy by listening to them.
Nickelback.
From Hannah, Alberta.
Edward Van Halen.
God, so close.
Edward
I
Sharpe
just
would make
feel like Edward Sharpe and Magnetic Zeros.
Okay, Motley Crue was close.
So close.
Motley Crue was close.
Think
Motley Crue.
funny hat.
Oh, Slash Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good one.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Funny hat.
Yeah. You got it.
You're always gonna get me when you take me to a place of funny hat.
Rumors, never mind. Hybrid Theory, Appetite for Destruction, and the White Album. Top 5 most
So who
streamed
won?
throwback albums. You did.
That's my first
think you
win.
win.
3-2.
Ever.
That was fun.
Thank you.
I enjoyed the shit
Thank-
out of
that
doing
was
that.
very. Thank you. That was a good day. Oh, my heart beats.
Now,
So we had to break the rules eventually,
Yeah.
didn't we? Because
But what
like you get 3 wrong guesses and then you're out.
No,
did
we
you?
played it
After
by
Celine
all the
guessed
rules.
6 bands in a row, I was like, yeah, that's fine. We can just keep going. Also, nobody wanted to talk about my amazing cover of Big 8 by. Anyway, that's okay. Now for our next segment. Ska died in 1999 and is now in heaven playing the best supergroup alongside ragtime, disco, and public domain hold music. This is Ska Sucks. Did you bring a Ska Sucks?
Oh no.
No, I did, though.
Did
I'm going to pull it up.
you?
Vamp.
Did you bring us Ska Sucks?
I did. All right, here we go. 1 out of 5 stars by Fernando for Running Scared by Slow Gherkin on Amazon. This was in February 10, 2003. Relevant. Time is relevant. Is this the same band? I'm an avid music fan. Like music itself, I've evolved as time passes as I grow older, and back in the day I loved ska.
Oh, fair.
I still do. The only band I waited religiously for them to put new CD was Slow Gherkin, and I got what I wanted. A new LP entitled Run Screaming. I wouldn't say I'm a diehard Slow Gherkin fan, but I do consider Shed Some Skin one of the highlights of all the ska albums released in the 90s. So I was expecting happy lyrics with powerful horn section and choruses with harmonies never heard before.
And then what'd you get?
I have no words to express what I would only describe as trash.
Oh, trash.
I have new theories of why this is such a poor album. The first, half of the lineup of the old days sounds dull and uninspiring most of the time,
Ouch.
with one or none highlights in the whole album. The combination of vocal harmonies between James and AJ are totally forgotten and long gone, and in my opinion, that was their secret ingredient for playing such enjoyable ska anthems. So all I would like to say as the band is thank you for providing such a musical backdrop with Shed Some Skin. For this review of Run Screaming album, well, I don't call this an album, and I have no further comments.
I don't call this an album. Damn.
I don't call
what a hard
this an
diss
album.
right
I
at
don't
the
call
end.
this an album.
Jesus.
I call this a collection
trash.
of B-sides.
So, what year was that review
2003.
left? Like 2002.
Yes, shortly after.
Okay, so that's fun. That's fun to me because that really is like the spirit of early
reviews on the internet, like in the early 2000s, back when people like really
Gave it their all.
wrote these big ass fucking reviews,
Dear
and they were
diary.
like, they really did. Like I read so many reviews on Amazon in the old days, and people really felt like they were like professional critics giving their treatise on musics in general. And now, it's the culture of the internet isn't as much like that anymore. People will leave much shorter reviews and be like, this thing was good, or like, this thing sucks and I hate you for reading this. Fuck you, die.
But the heart was there.
I too was also
Yeah.
heavy because music seemed more important on Amazon than it does now, and I would fawn over all of the different reviews that I would see there, and some of them I like downvoting Amazon reviews was maybe a favorite pastime of mine.
Wow. Oh, also, let's say there's a lot of Amazon nostalgia right now. We have to say Amazon is explicitly evil now. This was a different time. They weren't explicitly evil
No,
yet.
we
We had
didn't
no
know.
idea that was ever going to happen.
How could we? How could
All
anyone?
right. Now for the next segment, we're going to social media for questions, and this is a 2-part question that I'm going to start with.
We have quite a few questions.
Yeah,
so
so
we should
we have one on
thank
Twitter
people.
and a few on Insta. So
Yeah.
on Twitter, NPR Skanking Department posted this, but actually it originally came from Pinstripe Mealy. Gun to head, how many bagels could you eat?
Jesus fucking fuck. Somebody asked me about bagels? Okay.
Is that a New York thing?
I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah.
nah, it's just because that's what I eat for breakfast every damn
I
day.
mean, they're
That's, by the
delicious.
way, I just want to say, we all have crazy accents over here. I don't say breakfast naturally. That's just some shit that I did for fun. Anyway, no, I just always eat bagels for fucking breakfast. Gun to my head, how many bagels could I eat? Jesus, I don't know. As many as it takes for the gun to go away. Because
that's
That has to be the
yeah.
best fucking answer
as
I've
many
heard.
as it takes to have the gun pull away.
So I decided to do some research because I thought it was important. I ate a Tim Hortons bagel on the way here. It's fucking trash. It was disgusting, and I'm so mad that I ate it. Edmonton has the worst goddamn bagels on the planet, and I wish I was in Montreal or New York.
Bagel bar.
Bagel bar is good,
We
but
have
like
one
they sell out.
very expensive. Like you have to order ahead.
Yeah, I have to pre-order.
Online.
I can't just walk in and get a bagel.
bagels. That's the only place to get good bagels.
But so okay, that's my first thing. How many could I eat? Like half of a Tim Hortons one before I get sick. But
There's a surprise.
there's
for
a
you.
surprise here because Mini Vandal decided that he wants to. Oh yeah, should I crinkle it into the microphone? It's very important that
crinkle it
it's
into
very
the mic.
important.
That was
So-
nice for him.
Look at this. This is a fucking paper bag. So there is a promotional thing at Tim Hortons called Tim Biebs.
Tim Biebs.
Which is Justin Bieber has his own line of Timbits,
Timbits.
which are donut holes. I am going to try one.
Okay.
Tim Biebs.
So I'm going to
Go
eat
ahead.
one.
So
would
is
you
it
like
only
to eat?
one flavor?
There's 3, but I don't know if I can eat all 3 on mic.
I'm so glad I'm not in the room right now.
We're eating Tim Biebs. Which one did you eat? I don't want to eat the same one. Did you eat this one? They don't look appetizing. This one looks moldy and like weird and like fungal in nature. Even it's like brown and white, but like bleh.
It looks like a planet on Mass Effect.
Actually,
Right into the mic, Celine. This is a great segment.
you're the one who brought
My-
the fucking
Yeah,
things to
my-
eat on
my review-
asshole.
I know it's fun. My review, it tastes like a Timbit.
Yeah, it tastes like a Timbit, which is actually
They have one-
kind of good.
They have one universal flavor. They can color it whatever they want. It just tastes like a Timbit.
Yeah, the one I had tastes like a
So
chocolate Timbit.
my review, I give it 1 out of 2 tones. Thanks, Mini Vandal. So the next question is from Celine off of Instagram, and let's see who did this. Okay, Johnny BFC asked if Hoobastank was good enough to get covered. How many tones do you think Tubastank would? Or I think they meant Hoobastank. How many tones
think
do
they
you think
meant
Tubastank?
Tubastank.
Oh, they're doing a pun. I see what they did there. How many tones do you
It didn't
think
seem like you
Tubastank would
got
get?
it.
Did you go? Have you gone back and listened to that old Hoobastank record,
their
the ska
song?
one?
Do they have a ska album?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, it's embarrassing. It's pretty bad.
I have low patience for bad things sometimes, so like I
So
think I
does
got through
Rob.
like maybe 40 seconds
Oh,
of
that's
it,
something you have
and
in
then I
common.
quit.
Rob doesn't like to listen or watch or listen to bad things for fun, like because it's bad. Like he doesn't find that fun that it's bad.
Yeah, I have a theory
The
when
so
I said
bad it's good.
yeah.
thing.
There's in my opinion, there's no such thing as it's so bad it's good. There's just it's good, it's good. But I also am a person that also feels like you can just like whatever you want. So I'm just earnest about all the things I like.
So what's the Hoobastank song that's popular? Like the big one. No, I don't like that
I'm
song.
not a perfect person.
Nice.
I don't eat the bagels in time. I don't know what the fuck the lyrics are. I do. It's a really
There's
slow
also
song.
the one that goes.
Found no
Is
reason.
that what I used to be?
What's the other one? They have like rock songs. They got the one that goes like, "I'm spinning
And the
out of control,
reason
out of
is
control."
you.
But they're like a like a new metal thingy some of the time, right? Isn't that a thing? Anyway, if Ska
Sure.
was a
Pumbaa Stank.
if
Like the
Ska
Timon and
was
Pumbaa
a video
Hoobastank
game,
cover band.
what video game would it be, and
Back
why
to
is it
the
Leisure
Lion
Suit
King.
Larry? Do you play video games?
Wait, hold on. If what was
Ska
a video
was
game?
a video game.
Ska is Leisure Shoot Larry? No, it's fucking not. Fuck you. Don't
Couch
tell me
Land.
that.
That was my
who,
friend.
who
Kate-
wrote
that was
that?
my very good friend Kate.
Was that Caitlin? Like the Caitlin we played
Okay.
D&D with?
Truly, one of my
Caitlin,
cousins-
I'm sorry I
she's
said
being
fuck you to
trolly
your
and She's
face.
a troll. She's like the biggest. She would proudly admit that she's like a little goblin girl. So
Okay.
a tall goblin girl.
I just have this conception of myself that I'm like a mean person
Not
to
at
everybody all
also,
the time.
no one has to feel bad
especially
for
on
Caitlin.
Twitter.
I can't wait for her to
Is
hear
it
this.
is it because because he has a suit?
I think because I think
I
Caitlin
know.
thinks Ska is like lame. I'm just gonna come from the perspective of Caitlin that she's like, oh, like I don't know, it's kind of like pervy and lame, but I don't think Ska is pervy
Yeah,
and lame.
oh.
I think she was
I-
trolling
Leisure
on Ska.
Suit Larry is a game about a guy who fucks.
No,
Oh, no, he's
Got this
trying
guy
to fuck.
can't
who
fuck.
fucks.
He's trying to fuck.
He's incapable of fucking.
Well, if you win the game, maybe you fuck. I don't
It's been a
know.
minute. I was more of a King's Quest guy, and there was not a lot of fucking
what,
in that.
So then what? I always thought like Banjo Kazooie was Ska.
Oh,
Hey,
Yeah.
good one. I'll just go with that.
Well, then Mario Kart. Now, especially with the recent release,
I think that the most like punk rock game was Sunset Overdrive on the Xbox.
Mario Kart.
Yeah, because of the video game soundtrack. Yeah.
You want to know something? I don't like that pun. I played on that record. I don't like that pun.
It's
I
not
don't
my
like
favorite.
it. I don't like any pun that alters the vowel of ska. It's
Yeah,
like
Ska
you know,
Luigi
that
would
shit
be
it don't
better.
fucking work.
Ska
Like like here's one. I think Eichler's recently asked, "Hey, what's a Rudy's favorite holiday?" And somebody said Sconica. That's a good one. And then they also said, or Scarbor Day. I'm like, Scarbor Day? That shit, man, ska doesn't rhyme with car. Get out of here.
Out
Okay.
here right now.
Not unless you are talking about
I'm a stickler for
not
ska
unless you're talking about the
puns.
5 Iron Frenzy song. In which case,
Oh,
Car.
Which one?
number 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Wait, is that the one from Quantity's
From Electric
Job
Boogaloo.
1?
I'm still eating a Tim Beeb.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, they had a song about cars on that fucking thing. Anyway,
I just always thought it was funny.
it wasn't
No,
about
it was about
cars,
a person
I'm
whose name is
sorry.
Car. I just thought it was funny that they just have a song called Car.
This Tim Beeb is not that good. It's not. It's really not. It was like I was just hungry. It's not good. It's not good. No tones.
Davin Thompson asks, last question, how many horns is too many horns?
I don't know. I think 7 kind of sounds like too much. If you arrange it
Call
wrong.
that to Topo.
Uh,
Or wait, what's Tokyo Ska Paradise? TSPO.
They have 5.
Oh, don't tell it to them.
But
then.
No.
Tell it to my heart, Taylor Dane.
yeah, I think like there's like been a lineup of Streetlight Manifesto where they somehow had like 6 horns. I really
Oh.
think there might have been like I might have been watching a
Botar.
live video where they had
Yeah,
6
because
of
like
them.
if they tour with Botar, there's going to be like a million horns on there.
Yeah, there's like a million fucking things happening. And like me personally, like my goal for horn writing is kind of like 4 or 5 maximum. But if it's 5, I'm not even doing ska at that point. I'm doing
That's a
something
big
different. I'm
band.
doing like a chorale, you know?
I feel like 2. Like you
Or-
should just have 2 or 1.
We saw the Planet Smashers in
I don't
that
know. I
too.
like 3. I like
I like
4.
2.
I love Slow Gherkin. They made the best out of 4, and Streetlight Manifesto has made the best out of 4. So I think 4 is like a really great number
0
if you
to
can get it.
2.
If you can get it, and
0 to 2 1.
and you can pay them.
I think you sound, Celine, you sound more like on the Ska Network side of things. They're really conservative with the horns. I know they play like three horns.
Like being and I honestly preferred the keyboard.
It's true. So
Keyboard's great.
I
Great
talked about it
instrument.
before. Like Ska,
instrument.
their first 3 records had no horns. They just simulated it.
Ah.
And Ska rules.
Simulated ska horns. Yeah, sometimes I get the impression they'll probably never hear this, but I'll say it anyway. Sometimes I get the impression that Jer does not want to be playing horns all the time, but they have to put them in the songs because it's like, well, I'm Ska Network. They expect the horns, so I got to put them in there. But they always do like these anti-horn rants on like TikTok and Twitter, being like, people be shoving too many horns in their fucking ska songs. I gotta tell you, you people gotta chill out with the horns. And like, I think they want to chill out with the horns, but they just
they can't. They'd like to, but they don't know how.
They just want to go to Reed and say, like, maybe this song needs just me dancing around for a little bit. How does that sound? Can I be the boss tone of We Are the Union from now on?
Can I be the boss tone for this song, huh?
And with that, we're at the end of the episode.
Yay.
Thanks for listening.
Not yay.
Thanks for listening to Checkered Past. Hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok at Checkered Past Pod, or send us an email at checkeredpastpod@gmail.com. We have merch, Checkered Past at... Oh, wait, what is the website? Checkeredpast.ca. Got to think about
Checkered Past Pod?
No, checkeredpast.ca. I bought the domain. Please like,
Big money,
subscribe.
big money.
Tell your... It was $12.
Big money.
Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. Checkered Past is edited by Arianne and engineered by Joey, who creates weekly Spotify playlists featuring music played on today's episode. Kenny, thanks so much for joining. What have you got to plug, and how do you make the most money?
Wait. What'd you say? What do I got to plug, and how do I make the most
on
money?
your music. That's what we ask everybody.
Life.
No. Oh. Okay, I thought you meant life in general. Okay. What have I got to plug? You can still buy the damn Precure album, I guess. Tape Girl. When is this thing come out?
January the 12th.
Jan 12th.
January the 12th.
Not too long.
Damn, I don't know if I'm going to be spoiling something yet if I say that,
We could
so
just
I
reach
won't
out
say
to
that.
you
But
prior to releasing and double check if there's anything.
yeah. But well, fuck. If this is a spoiler, we'll find out later. But Tape Girl's releasing like a great thing in January of next year, where it's a collab between her and Peach Rings, and I'm playing organ on it, but like I'm not the main part of the shit. I'm just saying it's a great song. It's a great cover of a car seat headrest song.
Sick.
And also, the Precure album. Buy the shit on Bandcamp if you feel like buying some shit, or don't. Do whatever you want with your life. And I did a pretty nice organ solo on one of them Scario Kart songs, the Frappe thing. Yeah, because, Esteban Flores did the fucking thing on Skalloween. I'm like, you motherfucker. How dare you show us all up like that? So, like, I tried to step up my organ game now so people can take me seriously. All right,
you know what?
it.
Also buy Cool Hat, but not at the...
Oh, yeah,
but not at the
things.
expense of
I don't
buying
have
our
one
beanies.
yet because it got lost in the mail, but I love those. So I got to say that again because I talked all over. There's a cool hat for sale on ScottPunkInternational.com in like the merch section, and also we got the Precure album shirts, and there's a poster. But the cool hats are pretty popular, so
sweet.
hey, you might want to get one of those so you can be a popular kid, huh?
Fantastic.
Huh?
Thanks. And until next time, I'm Rob.
Oh no, I was gonna say something. I was gonna say something fun.
Okay.
No,
Go ahead.
I don't know what were you saying before? Like before
Before
the
what?
plugs.
Before the plugs.
What was Rob saying?
no,
before
fuck.
The plug? Or are they anyone?
I was telling Joey that he makes a
Something about making
Spotify
money.
Oh,
list.
I just wanted to give you an update on the Tim Biebs. I kind of have a
okay.
headache and the aftertaste is not good. That's all.
In the immortal words of Slow Gherkin, it's not another day you wasted, but just another in your life.
So I walk through my life and I don't feel a thing till I see my body lying on the floor. Yeah, I walk through my life and I don't feel a thing till I see my body lying on the floor. Till I see my body lying on the floor. I thought that I could do better in this life. Just trying on my own to live
it up, though.